like, yeah, that stinks. But, like, that is a good football player. And it makes you appreciate having a guy like that on your side because, yeah, the blocking was good, and I haven't gotten the All-22 yet to really look at it one at a time and decipher it from the correct angle. But it wasn't always clean. He made a lot of good cuts, a lot of good moves inside the hole to open space up for himself. I mean, he had to, right? When there's 7 or 8 guys that are, coming down inside a 10-yard area, he's going to have to make somebody miss at some point. And he did it, and he did it a lot. And, it makes you really happy that he's on our side. So, I mean, what a great game to watch.
The Packers beat the Colts 16-10. They rushed for 164 yards in the first quarter, which is the kind of total that you are very, very happy about in a game. They had it in a quarter. They had 237 yards at halftime, putting them on pace for a 474-yard rushing game against a defense that, as Brian said, knew what was coming and had given up the most rushing yards in the league the week before, 213 yards to the Texans, who, again, the Packers had surpassed before halftime. We will get into this because I want to give credit to Steno and LaFleur. They did a great job from my perspective, and you'll give a more detailed, knowledgeable perspective than I can give. But they ran, as you put it, base runs, but they gussied them up in a way with motions and personnel groupings and fake handoffs on jet sweeps and end arounds that the Colts didn't know what hit them. And it's not like Gus Bradley is new at this. He's won a Super Bowl. Like, he's been a head coach. He was a top-flight defensive coordinator in the NFL, and they had zero answers. And how they didn't figure out that, hey, let's sell out to stop the run and dare them to beat us with this quarterback is beyond me. We will get into that coming up. I do want to ask you this before we get into any of the X's and O's, before we get to your positives and negatives, Brian's, Riley's, mine, and then yours, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Matt LaFleur, and I didn't realize this was happening, Tausch tweeted, which, he only tweets when he really has something he feels strongly about. I asked Matt LaFleur in the press conference, you've won a lot of games around here. This has to be one of your favorites. And he said, yeah, absolutely. If you saw the video from the locker room after the game with the bleeps that were included because of the word choices he made. Is that common, by the way? Is there a lot of that in post-game win speeches? A lot of potty mouth?
You talk to any player or coach in the league that has played, obviously everyone's won a game at some point, right? Like, unless you were the Lions that one year.
With Joe Barry as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into a game week. And even more so this week for Matt LaFleur, Halfley, there was a lot that went into this game plan. And to have it come out the way it did and have both sides of the ball perform the way they did, there's a lot of emotion. And that doesn't shock me at all that that's the way he reacted. I memean, listen, you're going to catch those words no matter in an NFL building on a regular, but, in a situation like that with the emotion flying, I'm shocked that it wasn't bleeped out the entire speech. Like, to be honest with you, I thought he actually kept his composure pretty good for given the situation.
You hear that in any NFL building, except apparently the Bears, who scrubbed all the profanity out of Hard Knocks this summer. So he was really fired up, and I thought, that it was well deserved, because the fact that, and this is the thing that I wanted to ask you, is that this was a game. I mean, they were, if you pay attention to betting lines, they were underdogs at home to a team that is not going to be a playoff team this year, right? They are still in the rebuilding mode in Indianapolis. Their young quarterback certainly had his struggles yesterday. So they were home underdogs. That was the expectation of them with Malik Willis at quarterback, for them to not only win, but win the way they did, and for basically everything that they did game planning wise to work out. He has every right to be really proud of himself, of course. In LaFleur's way, he deflected it and talked about the players bringing the game plan to life, the assistant coaches formulating it. But this was a big win for him. This underscored that this is not just a coach who is a product of coaching Aaron Rodgers or coaching Jordan Love. They got the job done. I am curious, though, when you win a game where no one thinks you're going to win, when you have adversity that you have to overcome, are those, obviously winning the Super Bowl, which you did, is the sweetest of the sweet, but are the games where you overcome adversity and shut up the doubters and do what they did yesterday, are those the games that mean the most to win? Because he was absolutely overjoyed yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, those types of games are the ones that really, you remember those, right? Obviously you remember Super Bowl win, but you remember those wins and hard-fought battles that no one expected you to win. And I know this is a different scenario. It's early in the season, but it really, what I feel like how they felt in that locker room is how we felt in 2016 when we went on that bad skid. We lost 4 or 5 in a row. And our essentially season was on the line on a Monday night in Philly. And we went out to Philly and beat the brakes off of them. I mean, we beat them. So we were not the favorites. They were playing well. We were not playing well. And we knew everything was on the line on that game. This is it. Here's the season. If we don't win here, we're done. And there's still 6 games left or 7 games left. And we rattled everything off in a row and won out from there. But the joy that was felt in that locker room and the excitement and kind of just the mood reminds me a lot of how I saw that locker room after the game, because you pour so much into it. Nobody thinks you can get it done. And I get it was early on in the season for the Packers, yesterday it was early on and Jordan Love is coming back. I get all that. But no one in the country, maybe besides the locker room, thought you were going to get it done. And you did. And you did it in a way that they haven't shown they can get it done in the past, right? Matt LaFleur hasn't pulled out that type of game plan since he's been there. He hasn't done that. He had the ability to. He could have done that with Aaron. He could have done that last year with Jordan Love, but he hasn't. But he did it. So he's showing a way to win that he's never shown before. He took a risk, and it paid off. And like you said, that shows the type of coaches that are in that building and the type of players, because they can change, they can adjust, they can manage personnel on the fly. And that, to me, speaks volumes about kind of the operation they got going on. But listen, I said it last year when they were struggling, and a lot of people were after LaFleur, he can't do this and that. I knew they have a good staff there. LaFleur's a really good football coach. And Steno and Buck, these guys are really good coaches, and they have a great plan, and they have a great message to the players, and guys love the coaching staff. They buy into the coaching staff. It's just a matter of guys performing to a certain level, right? And that's what it took last year. Let's be real. You can't say that Matt LaFleur changed something and did something completely different last year, and that's why they started playing well. No, the players started to play better. This is an example of the coaching staff changing something and going in a completely different direction game plan wise, and the players buying in, and it paid off. And that's when you know you got a really good group where the coaching staff can just, hey guys, I know this is what we've been doing and this is what we've been practicing in preseason and camp and week 1, but we got to go off script here. We got to change what we're doing, and this is what we're going to do this week. I need you guys to buy in. And they did, and the results are what they were. So it is a complete team victory what we saw yesterday.
Brian will get into how the Packers did what they did in the running game, even without his all-22 access yet, because that has not been posted on NFL Plus. But he saw the game. He's got a pretty good idea, even without the eye in the sky, which don't lie, to tell us a little bit more about how they made this work. We will get to our one positive and one negative, and we will then get to yours. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. You can send in yours via text now, or we'll get to some calls coming up. Brian and Riley and I will deliver our positives and our negatives next. It's Wildy and Tausch.
This is Wildy and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher.
Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
I will say, if you're driving yourself to the game, can't bring it.
Come on.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
18, 19. If you're a teenager, you could still bring a glove.
License is the way to go.
What if it's vote?
No.
Why can't we compromise?
I'm willing to vote. I don't know how to make it more clear.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
Solving your breathing triangle problem can lead to better sleep and a better quality of life. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. At Fields, we have a great selection of Range Rovers, Defenders, and Discoveries. Every model in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery. Stop by or visit online.
Plus, you'll become a member of the Fields Amenities Program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and gourmet coffee service, all at no charge. Integrity and customer satisfaction will always be the force that drives our business. To put it simply, Fields matters because you matter. At Land Rover Waukesha. Go to LandRoverWaukesha.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel, turn to Kohler Services. Family-owned business for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off and 0% interest for 12 months on your Lugstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast, professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion, or your first big lightning strike, There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Families agents. Life's better when you're under American Families' roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
844-770-3776. We'll get to your positives and your negatives and questions if you have some for Brian Blaga, Owl. Coming up, but let's get to our positives and our negatives first, in the immortal words of Dom Capers, as he used to like to say to start out his conversations with us. I'll start with the positives. Brian, your biggest positive was I'm going to take away the running game from you because we're going to get into that a little bit more. So you're banned from the running game. What else you got?
I think it's the defense. I really do. I mean, I think everyone knew the defense had to step up and play well, right? Like we weren't expecting the offense to go in and score 28 or more points. So the defense knew they had to limit the Colts, and they did it very well. As you know, Richardson, I think, is going to end up being a good quarterback in this league. He had his struggles yesterday, but he presents a lot of threats to a defense. Moves really well. He can get out of the pocket. He's got a strong arm, so he can make throws out of the pocket and on the move that not a lot of guys can do. So he presents a lot of threats, and they got a good running back, a good offensive line. So yeah, like it was a big challenge, and the Packers defense, they played really well. This was a Colts team that put up a lot of points the week prior to the Texans, who we all watched last night, play really well against the Bears, had 7 sacks, and so they went against a good defense last week and scored a lot of points. So the potential was there. So I think how they played defensively and the style, like we keep talking, like the style of play, like it is aggressive and it's good and it's getting turnovers, and they showed that again. Like it's not a fluke that they took the ball away 3 times in week 1. Took it away again, twice yesterday? So like this is a
3
defense.
They had the pick at the end on the Hail Mary too.
That's right. That's right. So this is a defense that is showing you that they're going to get the ball back for the offense, and it's based on what the offense does with it at that point, which, I'm not going to get into negatives yet, but that's, the defense is showing you what they're going to be about. So, like, to me, it brings me to be really excited about this defense still. Even after last week, I was maybe one of the ones that still was like, okay, let's not hit the panic button on this defense yet. Like, I still like what they're doing, and to me, that was my one positive.
Yeah, and I would echo that about the defense against Philly. I know it wasn't what they wanted, but A, they didn't play their guys in preseason, and B, Philly's got a pretty darn good offense, which I think you'll see again tonight on Monday Night Football against the Falcons. They'll be playing, I think they're at home at Lincoln Financial as opposed to in Brazil on that ice skating rink they played on south of the equator. All right, Riley, what was your biggest positive?
So my biggest positive, I went in as a believer. I called it last week. Malik Willis. I thought he could get the job done.
Such a bad.
But I was really impressed with how he was able to manage the game. Obviously, LaFleur didn't ask him to do anything crazy, only threw the ball 14 times, wanted him to throw it 15 times, but obviously ball was a little slick after Josh Myers threw up on the football. But I was really impressed. He made the throws he had to make. He was able to put up a really good 50-50 ball to Romeo Doubs, and he didn't turn the ball over. I know he handed the ball off like 53 times, but no fumbled exchanges, no fumbled snaps. They had all that jet motion going back and forth. The ball, the cadence was on point. Overall, I thought Malik Willis played about a flawless game. stepping in. I mean, Matt LaFleur in his postgame presser said that what he did, we aren't able to comprehend the difficulty of what Malik Willis did coming in 3 weeks ago, learning this offense, being able to step in for an injured Jordan Love. I'm just so impressed with what Malik Willis was able to do.
Yeah, you're right about that. It was impressive, and he deserves a ton of credit. He had started 3 games in Tennessee. The Titans won 1 of those 3, but he didn't make the kind of plays, even though there were only a couple of them, like he made yesterday. I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit. You know, Josh Jacobs was advertised as a high-volume back. 32 carries, 1 shy of his career high. He had 133 carry game in Oakland / Las Vegas and 131 yard or 31 carry game with the Raiders. This was the second most carries he's gotten in a game. And I love Aaron Jones. You love Aaron Jones. You blocked for Aaron Jones. Great guy, slasher. I don't know if he could have given him 32 carries in a game. I don't think that would have been putting him in his best position. And so this is not a critique on him. They're just different players. And having a guy like Josh Jacobs, yes, as Brian pointed out, the fumble was less than ideal. You go in and there, score there and make it 17-0. The Colts are lying down after that. It's done. They are mailing it in. So that is a critical mistake. There's no denying it. But he was really, really, really good. And as Brian pointed out, with that many guys in the box and with the
What
Colts,
could a second Trump administration look like?
Project 2020.
Wow, I wasn't expecting a Trump ad in the middle of that. If you're
what?
Yeah, I was. Was I the only one that heard that?
No, I believe that went out. So I was clicking back to the YouTube stream, and there was another YouTube tab open. So I clicked the wrong one, then it started a YouTube ad, and the political ads, they're all over the place
right now,
nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my point being, it wasn't blocked up perfectly, and make sure you vote in the coming election. It wasn't always blocked up perfectly, like Brian had said. And the point being that he got yards that weren't even necessarily there. And so he deserves a ton of credit. I know Tausch would tell us that was low-hanging fruit. All right, Brian, your biggest negative from this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think early on we saw it, and it's something that showed itself again from last week is the penalties.
Yeah.
The offensive penalties from week 1 to week 2 are still there. And those have to start getting cleaned up because we're seeing that become a detriment in these drives for the offense, right? Like if the run game wasn't so good yesterday, I mean, we get the couple holding penalties in a row, then or whatever it was, and then Jacobs breaks off like a 25-yard run and gets the first down right back. Like you can't continue to rely on getting penalties and gaining all that yardage back. It's just not realistic in the NFL. So for me, that was the negative, and I guess I have 2 because it was also something that showed itself last week as well in week 1 was the inability to cash in on turnovers, right? Like you need to be able to score touchdowns when you turn the football over. Week 1, 9 points off of 3 turnovers. To me, that decided the game. I think this week it was only, I think it was a touchdown. Maybe it was 7 points off of 2. Maybe it was only a field goal. I can't remember exactly what they did after the first turnover. I'm not. Maybe someone can check me there.
I will have that for you momentarily.
Fact check me since we're in political season. But to me, that is those are the 2 things that stand out to me because, again, as we get going in the season and we start getting in these games that are against playoff-type teams, and we saw it against Philly, they're going to be a playoff team. We'll just call it what it is. Those are the fine margins that you start to see separating teams as, yeah, the turnover margin is big, but if you don't do anything with the turnover margin and you get outscored on the opposing team's turnover margin, Yeah, like it's not a recipe to win in the long term. So, which is correctable in my opinion. The penalties are completely correctable. Like those are holding calls that it's position, it's technique. Those can be changed. I thought the one on Bo Melton, the holding call.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a bad call. Like, to be honest with you, that was junk in my opinion. But it is what it is. It still gets called. So those things are correctable. And taking advantage of turnovers is something that's also correctable. But like that's something that just has to be done. They got to be cleaner when they get the ball back from turnovers, and those would be my two.
So they had 3 interceptions. We will take one of them off the board for cashing in purposes because it's the Hail Mary that Evan Williams intercepts to end the game. The other 2, one ends in Josh Jacobs' fumble at the goal line. The other ends in a missed field goal from Braden Narveson, which may be a little bit of foreshadowing. Yeah, which may be a little foreshadowing of a negative coming up here. All right, Riley, what's your negative?
Alrighty, so I don't want to steal...
Other than playing YouTube commercials in the middle of the show.
Obviously, that is... that would be my number 1. But secondly, Bulaga and actually Tucker and Wausau had the same thing on the turnovers. He said, I don't know, I'll have to fact check him on this, but we only have 6 points on 9 turnovers all season.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Is kind of insane when you look at it, so turnovers definitely a big negative. But the other one that I had written down was just the inability to close out the game. Like you mentioned, Josh Jacobs' fumble on the goal line. Like, the Colts are probably done. If you get up 17-0, you're just running it down your throat. You can do whatever you want to them. They're probably not going to be able to recover. It's going to take a Herculean effort, which they obviously didn't have yesterday. And second, you alluded to it, Braden Narveson missed field goal. You go up 19-10, game over. They can try and march down the field, but the threat's over. That's it. And the Packers just weren't able to close out the game. I think you could look at that as a bigger negative with Braden Narveson. Now he's missed a field goal in each of the first 2 games. Not ideal. I think that is also fixable. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from the Narv Dog, but I feel like the Packers, you got to be able to close these games out. You got to be able to step on the throat and just like take their will. And I feel like the Packers haven't shown the ability to do that yet.
So my negative is the pass rush, and then we'll get back to I'm sorry, what'd you call him? The Narv Dog?
The Narv Dog.
The pass rush, I understand that they are facing 2 mobile, athletic quarterbacks, and you have to rush the passer in an adjusted manner, right? You have to be disciplined. You have to try and make sure that you're not leaving lanes for him to take off and run. I understand that, and that is a mitigating factor, but they still are not generating enough pressure. Like, those guys are still sacked at times, and they just, for a group that we were expecting to wreak havoc, they haven't done that yet. Now, again, even giving them some grace on the types of quarterbacks and the approach they're taking with those quarterbacks, you would like to see more pressure. The question I have for Brian about Narveson before we shift gears and we take your positives and negatives, 844-770-3776, is this. What at this point is the difference between the Narv Dog and Anders Carlson? He's basically Braden Carlson / Anders Narveson, right? Because the concern about Anders Carlson was that he was going to miss 1 kick a game, right? I mean, if we're being honest, it's not like he was, Shankopotamus guy who was hitting 48% of his field goal attempts. Like, it was that, like clockwork, whether it was early or late, sometime during the game, he was going to miss a kick. 10 of the last 12 games last season, he missed a kick. He loses his job after he is perfect all game long in the preseason finale and then pushes a 32-yarder wide right. The whole issue with him was, which kick is he going to miss and how's it going to cost us? And Narveson is fun, man. He's a little, he's a rookie. He's all full of energy and positivity, and he is a fun guy to talk to. But Brian, how is he different at this point than Anders Carlson? They both have strong legs. They both are young kickers that have to work through their inconsistency. But one kick a game can be the difference between winning and losing if you're going to miss one kick a game.
100%. And listen, I don't want to jump on this kid right off the get, right? Like, and I get it. He's missed 2 kicks, 2 games.
Right. He's been really good. And in fairness to him, I'm not saying they should cut him at all. That is not my argument. I'm just saying it's no different than what you just dealt with.
No, and you're right. And that's not just saying it. That statistically is what we're talking about. Like it's statistically he's missing a kick a game, and that's just the facts of it. I think if that trend continues in the next 3 weeks, I think Goody will be looking back at the veteran that we let go. What was his name again?
Greg Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph. I think that may be he'll get another look. I really do, because I don't think you can continue to miss one a game and keep, listen, we're watching field goal kickers bomb these things from 58, 59 yards a game here, with ease and making them, last night, the Chiefs, like we're seeing these kickers just super accurate from 50 out. And if we continue to have a kicker miss one a game from in that 40 to whatever it is range, that's very alarming. And it's going to be alarming for Goody, especially what the team experienced last year in the playoff game, the final game. So, I'm not, saying that we need to move on. This kid can't, I'm not saying that. Because, like you said, I think there's potential in him. And I get he's young. And Carlson was young last year, too. And I think people gave him a lot of time to see how it would turn out. And it turned out the way it did at the end of the season. I'm just not sure. I am not sure Green Bay is going to give him that same time that they gave Carlson. And if there is a kicker available that they like Joseph, or if they want, I don't know if they would go back to Carlson, but if he's available, you know what I mean? I don't think that they're going to have the same patience is essentially what I'm getting to. And for reasons that are completely valid, because you said it, 3 points in a game could cost you the game. And that, you look at yesterday, a perfect example. You make that field goal, it's out of reach, it's game's out of sight, out of mind. That Hail Mary doesn't even matter. If they complete it, they got the 2-point conversion, does not matter because the ball game's over. So, I'm not completely done with him yet. I'm not, because, again, we saw what happened last year, and we gave, Carlson some grace and let him work his thing out and figure out the type of kicker he is. It's just not going to be the same ball game this year. And that's why I'm hoping a little more consistency starts to show itself throughout the next 3 weeks, and we're 100% on all kicks. And I'm not saying kicking's easy. I know guys are making it look easy right now, right? There's some kickers that are making this thing look easy. It's not easy. And as much as Homer says it's easy, it's not easy. But yeah, I would like to see a little more consistency, and that's where I'm at with it.
I think, personally, it's even tougher when you got a guy like the kicker for the Commanders. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I don't think he was on an NFL roster a couple weeks ago, and then he comes in and makes 7 field goals in a game, even though most of them weren't from that great of a distance. The ability to make 7 field goals and literally win your team the game, the only score in the game, that's something that doesn't really seem like the Packers have had the past few years.
Yeah, that was Austin Seibert, who had been in camp and had lost a competition. I don't know if it was with the Jets or who it was with, but he was on the street, or as Tausch likes to say, in his home, and then got the call when the Commanders, who had traded for Cade York from the Browns and given up a draft pick for him, then cut him because he missed kicks in the opener. That's the thing you don't want to be doing. You do not want to play kicker roulette. You don't want to do it. So I'm not, again, advocating in any way for them to move on from Braden Narveson. And by the way, the kicks do matter, right? I mean, in the Philadelphia game, you get the ball back at the end. Now, maybe it forces Philly to go for a touchdown when they're at the 1-yard line on 4th down instead of kicking the 21-yard field goal. But you make that field goal, you are up 1 when they go down and kick that field goal to push the lead to 5. And then you are now you don't have to go get a touchdown to win. You can go kick a field goal to win. So the miss he had earlier in the game in Brazil did matter. But again, I would be patient. I don't have a problem with him at all. I'm just saying that it feels a little like deja vu all over again. That's all. And he has to get that fixed in order to be able to be counted on, because there's going to be a game, and it could be as soon as Sunday, in which he's going to have to kick a game winner. And maybe he does. He did that in preseason from 59 yards. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, those are our positives and our negatives. Now we get to yours. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Your positives, your negatives. The Packers beat the Colts and rushed for about 1 million yards. Well, okay, not 1 million, 261. But it felt like 1 million. We'll get to that. Plus, during the 10 o'clock hour, Brian's going to break down why they were able to do what they did on the ground. So you're going to stick around for that as well, even though he doesn't have his all-22s yet. That's all coming up. More Wildy and Tausch straight ahead. Stick around.
Wildy and Tausch is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's makes the good stuff for good times. Find recipes, videos, and more at titosvodka.com.
It's the last home stand of the Brewers regular season. Be here when the Crew take on the Mets, September 27th through the 29th. Get to the jam-packed series for Fan Appreciation Weekend. Get your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at 28 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that was voted Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
It was a ground and pound game plan for the Packers in their 16-10 win on Sunday over the Colts at Lambeau Field. Filling in for the injured Jordan Love, Malik Willis stepped up at quarterback with a 12-for-14 stat line and his first career touchdown pass. His thoughts after the game.
I've been really confident the entire time. It's more than anything just getting those reps and feeling that timing. Like even in Tennessee, I didn't really get those reps during the week of the games I've started. But more than anything, I try to push that to the side and just continue to work each day.
Willis and the Pack will get back to work with film review in Green Bay today.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank.
Concerned about fraud? Tri-City's got your back. Use debit card alerts. Help stop a card hack. You'll get notified when your card's being used so you can prevent your account from abuse. Tri-City National Bank. Member FDIC.
Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee. It's time for the Milwaukee Baseball Report on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by National Liquor Mart. Packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirits deals in town. Located at 16th and National in Milwaukee. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action.
It was an offensive outburst from the Crew in Arizona on Saturday night.
Fly ball into right field. This is back for Corbin Carroll onto the track. Carroll's at the wall. See you later. 2 home runs in a matter of minutes for Willy Adames. And the Brewers have gone back-to-back.
Part of taking 2 of 3 from the Diamondbacks in Arizona as the Brewers inch ever closer to that NL Central crown. They'll take on the Phillies to start the week at home, where they hope to clinch their 5th division title.
This has been the Milwaukee Baseball Report on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by National Liquor Mart.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Ellison here for my good friends over at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, tuning up your generator, installing electric vehicle charging, or residential service calls. Best Electric provides quality services at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the best. Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
Save big money on your next outdoor project at Menards. Menards has the best in-stock selection of AC2 pressure-treated lumber. Our huge inventory of decking, fencing, lumber, and timbers are all easy to load in our drive-through lumber yard. Plus, you can get free estimates fast with our fence and deck design programs in-store or online at menards.com. Don't forget to check out our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is 100.5 ESPN.
Four 770-3776. Let's get straight to the phones and your positives and negatives. Let's start in Stevens Point with Joe in Stevens Point. Joe, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. Hey, guys. How you doing? Long-time listener, first-time caller. Because I want to just say this one thing. Can Packer fans finally just breathe for a second and not overreact? Malik Willis showed us he's a serviceable quarterback. He's not going to go out and win you a game. That's the positive. So now we don't have to rush back to visiting, how hard do we have to push Jordan Love back onto the field? He got us a win. Let's all just breathe for a minute. The negative, for as much as I've heard about this Jeff Hafley defense and these guys are going to pin their ears back and go, I agree with you. Playing two athletic quarterbacks is a different ball game per se, but for one, there haven't been enough plays where I've looked at the game and been like, those guys can go get it if we absolutely need to. And I agree, coming from the standpoint of an athletic quarterback, you have to stay disciplined, but I haven't quite seen that play yet where I'm like, oh, they can go get it. Just tell them to go get you the ball. They'll go get you the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look, I'm going to reserve judgment. I think it's obviously, because I brought it up too, Joe, I think it's a very fair point about the pass rush, and we will see if that changes. Look, Will Levis is certainly capable of moving and getting outside the pocket too, but he is not as good at it as Jalen Hurts is, and he's not as good of a mobile quarterback as I believe Anthony Richardson is going to be. Again, he moved a lot, but he didn't look like he had a great plan for when he moved. Like, the really good quarterbacks don't run to run. They run to set up a better throw off platform or off schedule. And he is still, this is only his sixth start, so I'm not going to crush Anthony Richardson either. So I'm going to hold judgment on the pass rush. But it is a negative, and it's a fair one. I'm glad you brought it up. Now, Brian, let me ask you this about Malik Willis, and thanks for the call, Joe. We appreciate it, and welcome to the show. Good job choosing the day that Tausch is off to call when Brian's on instead for your first call. My question for you, Brian, is this, to Joe's point about Malik Willis, because I am a Malik Willis supporter. I feel like he got a raw deal in Tennessee. He got drafted by a GM who wanted him to sit the way Jordan Love did. Remember, John Robinson, his best friend in scouting, is Brian Gutekunst. He wanted to do with Malik Willis what Brian was doing with Love. And then he gets fired in December. New GM comes in, drafts Will Levis, that is not a Valentine to Malik Willis. That is we think you suck. We drafted another guy a year later in a round earlier than we drafted you. We don't want you. That's what it says. So then he basically has a wasted year last year, and then he gets traded, and now he's got his fourth offensive system in 3 years. My question, Brian, is obviously the game plan worked yesterday because they ran the ball so flippin' great. If Tennessee does a better job of that, are we having a different conversation about Malik Willis a week from now? Because they have had to make him do more than he had to do yesterday, and we find out whether he's up to the task or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think next week will be a telling sign, right? Because I think Tennessee's got a pretty good defense. Again, I haven't watched them much, to be honest with you, so I don't really know much about them. I know they got some good players, especially some really good interior players. I was able to catch a little bit of the Jets game yesterday as I was on my NFL ticket, so I was able to pay attention to a little bit of the Jets game, and they played the Jets tough, and the Jets, they obviously have Aaron, but they have a good rushing attack, right? And they kept the game pretty close, and that's with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, and that's a really good quarterback. And we're talking. And I don't think I'm not. This isn't ragging on Malik Willis, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. So it'll be interesting to see the conversation we're having next week if Jordan Love is not ready, and how Matt LaFleur prepares this team to go play a defense that, interior-wise, they got some pretty good football players, and they're going to be trying to stop the run again, and that's going to be the name of the game: is how can we limit the Packers' run game. And I think we can make more of a judgment on Malik Willis at that point. But as of right now, we have to give him his due credit. I mean, he came into a situation with not a lot of time, and he did what was asked of him. He made some really good throws. He made good decisions. He didn't turn the football over or do anything crazy like that. So I think we have to give him his credit, and we should be able to, expect that he continues to play at the same level or even better. That's the way I'm looking at it. I mean, he showed us what he can do. They won the game. I get they ran the ball a lot. They're going to run the ball a lot next week, too, if Jordan Love doesn't play. Even if Jordan Love does play, they may still run the ball a lot. But my expectation for Malik Willis is just to potentially get a little bit better. There should be no reason why I think he's going to take a step backwards. I think another week of game planning, another week of being comfortable in the system, we can expect him to make, I'm not saying a huge jump or anything like that, but another potentially small step forward and see some more improvement. So, he could win. I don't know if he can outright win us a game by throwing the ball 40 times and win a game that way. But he certainly showed yesterday that he can control the offense, take care of the football, and not lose the Packers a football game, which is really important as a backup quarterback, that you don't go in there and lose a game for your team. And he proved that he can manage this thing, keep the offense moving in the right direction. And so to me, next week, I hope he maybe gets a little bit more of what we see from Jordan Love. I'm not saying he is Jordan Love, but I'm just saying maybe some more basic dropbacks and see how he throws the football and try to make the Titans not be one-dimensional in stopping the run. And maybe we see a little bit more. But, again, I'm not putting anything ahead. We'll see how this week pans out with Jordan Love and how he's feeling and all those types of things. So take this one day at a time here.
We'll get to your texts. We'll get to more of your calls, too. So if you're on hold, stay there with your positives and negatives. We'll get to those coming up. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Brian Bulaga and Riley Yauk are our cousin subs of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. We'll get to more of your positives and more of your negatives next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
The Homer Hour with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
Right now, they'd be a toss-up with the herd.
People just don't know how funny mean you are.
Come on.
Well, I mean, that's mean. But it's funny, and the funny trumps the mean, and so you laugh.
But there might be some truth to that.
Of course there's some truth to it.
The Homer Hour with Homer. Weekdays from 5 to 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on YouTube.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman here for Carbless, my go-to drink this summer. Handcrafted right here in Wisconsin, Carbless is a ready-to-drink vodka and tequila cocktail. Perfect for hanging out on the patio by the grill, chilling on the lake, or tailgating at the Brewers game. Plus, it's got 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 gluten, and just 100 calories. All summer, make sure you're following Carbless on Instagram at Drink Carbless for your chance to win a Summer Bliss prize package. Find Carbless online and at retailers near you. Carbless. Bliss is more.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Aaron Goldhammer.
4th and 16. Come on, Cincinnati. Like, I know it's Mahomes. You got to get off the field in that situation. And, David, you got to be smarter. See, this is, I agree with this so much. Part of what you're saying, they had the Jamar Chase stupid taunting penalty, 15 yards, boom. They don't finish at the end of the fourth quarter. You know, you need to finish that drive and score more points. Make them go all the way back down the field, score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then I know a lot of people are saying that it's the Chiefs and the refs or whatever. I thought that Dejon Anthony got there early.
It was a good call.
Yeah, I agree. So I thought they benefited from it, but I thought that they made the right call. And then, like so many of these good teams, say what you want about his bizarre graduation speeches, but Harrison Butker is coming into the game and he is banging through a 50-yard field goal with ease.
The best mornings
In the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
pull on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started on the right foot.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Good mornings make for better days.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Phones aren't wired to the wall anymore. We carry them in our pockets. Cars can even drive themselves, right? Technology advances have changed our lives.
That's football legend Emmitt Smith.
Some of the most fascinating advances are happening with the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. I'm talking about natural regenerative treatments for joint pain without surgery or harmful drugs.
Tens of thousands of patients have discovered these breakthroughs firsthand at QC Kinetics. With over 100 board-certified providers across the country, they're transforming the world of pain treatment using your body's own healing properties to help restore your aching joints.
Why would you keep going back to the old tired ways of treating chronic joint pain? Check out the latest advances at QC Kinetics. And here's an idea for you. You can call them on that smartphone right there in your pocket.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
All right, let's get to another call before we kick off the 10 o'clock hour, and then we'll get to more of your calls and texts, 844-770-3776. And then the doctor of football, which when I joined the Homer Hour, then I'm now the professor, which, again, I don't know the difference. Brian Bulaga knows a hell of a lot more than I do, though. So take those titles as you wish with Uncle Homer, but I do enjoy our Thursdays together. All right, let's go to Jeff in Milwaukee next. Jeff, good morning. What are your positives and negatives, buddy? How you doing?
How you guys doing? Thanks. You guys have a great discussion today, so that's been awesome.
That's all Brian. He's the best.
Yeah. Well, you know, and then you're such a you always go for the underdog, Jason. Malik Willis, you're right there batting with him. I love it.
I am.
So, yeah. So here's before the season started, I called in and I said the key to this season, their overall success, is going to be their offensive line. And so my positive for the game is their offensive line played great. I would say it was a phenomenal, really, really strong performance by them. And my negative is on the defense, but as opposed to what you guys have been talking about, my biggest concern about their defense is their run defense. This is now 2 games where, and granted, it's been 2 good backs, but if they don't stop the run this year, they're not going. They're not going to be able to finish anything off. They're not going to be able to get off the field. And I don't mean to drill down and blame one person, because run defense is very, very. It's a cumulative effect. But I'll tell you, if Quay Walker doesn't start to make some plays, he's entering like we overdrafted. He's now in his 3rd season, and you know what? The book on him coming out of college was great athlete. He lacks instincts and intelligence, and you need both those things to play linebacker in the NFL. It's just huge, and he has not shown that. So my biggest concern, not only for this game but moving forward, is going to be the run defense. And then the final thing is, I agree with both you. If Malik plays and starts this Sunday, he's going to have to beat him with his arm, because you know for sure Tennessee is not going to let our running game beat them. You won't. They won't. That's what they're going to say. Prove it. And I wouldn't be surprised if LaFleur is counting on that, and in the first series they throw a bomb to one of their wide receivers. Yeah. At any rate, you guys, thanks so much for the show. Those are my positive and negatives, and thanks very much.
Let's get the great point, Jeff. Let's talk a little bit more about the run defense before we start the 10 o'clock hour, Brian. They are 2 good backs. Jonathan Taylor, really good back. Saquon Barkley, really good back. Both of them over 100 yards in the first 2 games. You used the phrase when we were learning this defense, stopping the run on the way to the quarterback. Well, so far they're not really on their way to the quarterback, and they're not stopping the run. Why?
Yeah, I mean, I think let me start kind of agreeing with what you said early on. Like, these are 2 good backs. Like, and you look at this last game, 12 for $103. Yeah, the average doesn't look great, right? It's almost 10 yards a carry, had a long of 29. So I'm like, listen, if they give up 100 yards rushing average, but, you know, they only allow 10 points a game, like, there's worse things in the world that can happen, right? Like, I'm not as concerned about that. I'm more concerned about, like, what happened week 1. Those are the type of rushing games that I don't really, or like those big chunk plays and just completely wide open gaps and guys not fitting in the right spaces. Those are the ones that concern me more. I thought they made improvements from week 1 to week 2 in the rush defense. Do we want to see that under 100 yards, closer to like 80 yards or even less? Yes, we do. But this is a process. It's a process to get your run fits correct while still being super aggressive and penetrating up the field. Like, it is a different style and feel than read and react and 2-gap and things like that. There are nuances to jetting up the field and then finding the running back, feeling where you're at in space, reading offensive linemen. Like, it's a different feel than what they're all used to. So while we do want improvement from the 2 games, right, you don't want to see Taylor get, like I said, 103 from 12 carries or what Saquon did the week prior. No, but I feel like there was improvement from week 1 to week 2. But it's going to take them a little while. And he did mention something that I believe needs to happen. And I think Quay needs to start figuring out these run fits a little bit better. It needs to be a little bit cleaner, because there are times where I feel like, just from watching the sideline tape, obviously, like I said, I haven't seen the L-22, he's playing a little more laterally than I would like to see them, and not downhill, right? Like, he is a big, strong, aggressive linebacker. Like, seeing his pads go sideways and not straight downhill when attacking offensive linemen or filling gaps is doing him a disservice because of the way he is, how physical he is. He's a big linebacker. Like, I want to see that guy's shoulders square and attacking downhill, and he just seems like he's going a little lateral right now. And that's kind of the point earlier I made, that it takes a little bit of time to get these run fits and getting comfortable with where the D linemen are going to be, potentially where the weak points could be after, the ball snapped and the running backs made his first few steps to a certain side, and where the cutbacks are going to be. Like, these are all things that they work out. And I'm not jumping off ship yet because, like I said last week, I'm not doing it yet. But I do think consistency from the linebacking group needs to improve. Because if you look at these defenses run throughout the league, the stars of the show in the pass rush are obviously the D linemen because of the freedom they're given. But the run game is always the linebackers. You look at the 49ers and Fred Warner and those guys. You look at the Houston Texans, and I think his name is I forgot the line that threw the punch last night. He was with the 49ers. Shire. I forgot. I can nenever pronounce his name properly.
Yeah, his name should have been pronounced kicked out of the game, but that didn't happen.
Yes. Yeah, but he's that type of linebacker that's aggressive downhill. They're filling gaps. You look at the Jets and those two linebackers, Quincy, like those dudes are downhill and they're aggressive in the run game. And that's who the star of the show is in the run game, is those linebackers, because the D linemen are supposed to be eating up blocks so that those guys can roam free, and it's how they fit. So I think that's going to improve as this season goes on with Quay and whoever his running mate is next to him, that those things are going to improve. Those things are going to take time. And I know people are impatient with it because they saw it last year and they didn't like it. And it's a new scheme, and we were told things would be corrected, and things will be corrected, and it takes time. But those are all feel things. Like, these aren't like you're supposed to be in the A gap. That's where you need to be. Quite like it's not that way. Gaps move as offensive lineman moves, and pictures change, and where you need to fill like it's a moving picture, and it's hard to just like pinpoint and be like, he needs to be in this gap. Well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I understand it pre-snap, but this is post-snap, and things are moving, and 300-pound bodies are moving laterally, and gaps appear. Or if one of our D linemen potentially gets, blocked cleanly, it opens up a different space. So, I'm not overreacting to it. Does it need to get cleaner? Yes, and I think Quay is a good football player. I really do. So, I'm not in the category of saying this guy is not going to work out, or he's not. I think he's a good football player, and he's shown that. I just think the consistency with where he is when it's time, as the picture's changing, I think that needs to be a little more consistent. I think we're going to see the run game improve. I really do. I'm confident in it.
Yeah, I just think that, and it's the expectation game that Tausch always talks about, and the expectation game, Quay Walker is not Blake Martinez. He wasn't drafted in the 4th round. He was the 22nd overall pick, and your expectations are different from, just like your friend A.J. Hawk had to deal with, from being the 5th overall pick. It's different, and yeah, he's a great athlete. He's got length, he's got speed, he's got everything you want, but he doesn't make plays. I mean, other than the pick 6 that he had in Chicago in the opener, how many plays has he made in 2+ years now? Not many, and I understand fans' frustration. I'm not writing him off either. Let me be very clear. But the clock is ticking, and this is supposed to be a scheme that is more conducive to him and Wyatt both. The idea of think less, react more. Okay, we're only 2 games in. Wyatt had a sack yesterday. We will give them some grace too, but at some point, the expectation game kicks in, And I understand why fans feel the way they feel. The guy you were trying to think of, by the way, was Aziz Al-Shaair, who definitely should have been ejected yesterday, but wasn't. And if you have replay, how do you not use it to do that? No, they don't have that. That's not allowed in the rules. All right, we need to get to the 10 o'clock hour. I know there's a bunch of you on hold. Riley is putting you in your pecking order. We will get to you on the other side when we kick off the 10 o'clock hour. Want to remind you, you can take it to the bank that you're always going to get great insight from Bulaga, and you can take it to the bank that you're always going to get great customer service from Associated Bank. Top customer service in the industry. They've got all kinds of awards, including a recent J.D. Power Award, to prove it. They've also got Packers checking. You can get your Packers debit MasterCard, get your discount at the Packers Pro Shop, and that early pay program where you'll have access to your money up to 2 days early with your direct deposit from your employer. So go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. Boy, it's just like having Bulaga on the show on a Wednesday. We don't start the 10 o'clock hour, it's almost 10:15. We're consistent around here. We'll do that in 2 minutes. It's Wildy and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wildy and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Jeff Levering here. How are baseball and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin alike? Pella manufactures all their own products. Baseball teams develop their own players in the minors. Pella tests every product thousands of times to ensure it stands the test of time. A baseball player's ultimate test is to get called up to the big leagues, hoping to play well enough to stay. Right now at Pella, get as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. Certain restrictions apply. It ends September 30th. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Gabe, where do you think our group should be taking our golf trip next year?
Jason, I don't know. Do you have time to figure it all out and get all the reservations made? I certainly don't.
Not really. I mean, I'm so busy. If I only knew somebody to call that might do all the work for us.
Oh, I know about Wisconsin Golf Trips. Their main business is booking groups from around the world to play all the great courses in our state, but they're now doing outbound trips for groups each year to places like Michigan, Minnesota, and Nevada. Plus, Wisconsin Golf Trips is even booking custom packages for Scotland and Ireland.
Oh, wow. Let's hit them up.
WisconsinGolfTrips.com.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Hey sports fans, looking to level up your next private event? V Private Bar Services is your game changer. Move beyond the ordinary. V Private Bar Services crafts custom cocktails tailored to your brand and your guests' taste. Imagine a bar experience that's as unique as your business. Our expert mixologists will create a memorable experience that your clients and team will rave about. From signature cocktails to full-service bars, we've got you covered. Be the MVP of your next event. Visit vprivatebar.com/MVP to book today.
Hey, this is Homer. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Wildy and Tausch with Brian Bulaga and Riley Yauk as our cousin subs of the day. For Tausch and Jesse, cousin subs, we believe in better. Let's get back to the phones. Let's get to Levi in Plover. Levi, good morning. I'm surprised you would call when your BFF Jesse's not on the show today.
You really had to say that, didn't you, Jason?
I did. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. It's the truth, but be that as it may. What are your positives and negatives, buddy?
Before I get to that, I got two things to say quick. I want to say that Riley Yelk has been doing fantastic subbing for Jesse. Boy,
he just called Paul. He just called Paul Hornung Paul Hornung. So no,
wait,
I'm not going to let you say that. So sorry.
And, it's okay. And also, Jason, I forgot to mention back in April, the Packers tailgate tour came to Oshkosh for the Special Olympics, and I got even a picture with Brian Balaga, and I still have that picture since April.
Get that.
I don't know if you remember me, Brian, but the one I got my Packer hat on, my red T-shirt with a number on it. I took a picture with you.
Levi, get that sent down. Get that sent down to Jesse. We'll get it to Brian. Sure. He can sign it for you, and then we'll send it back. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, sure. All right,
and then you can send him a copy signed by you. All right. What do you got for us? Positives and negatives.
My positives is the first half. The running game was pretty good. It was almost like a college or high school football game with those stats the Packers did running on the Colts eating their lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative, especially with if Jacobs didn't fumble that ball, we would have been up 17-0 in the first half. But I just want to give the Colts credit for the second half adjustments, especially stopping the run on them, because they did a pretty good job on that. But even though they still stink at it, but
I'm glad you brought that up, Levi, because that was something that I wanted to ask Brian about. And thanks for the call and get that picture sent so we can send it down to Brian and get it back to you. Here's the thing, sure. Brian. You know that the Packers don't want Malik Willis to have to throw a lot, right? Like, they're fine with him making some plays, but Gus Bradley goes into the game knowing that. Why not just open with 5 defensive linemen? And why not just open with, no, we really are going to dare you to throw the football against us. I know they were missing Blackman, their stud safety. They were missing one of their corners. So maybe there's a little bit of reluctance to say, all right, we dare you to beat us with the pass, because maybe Malik Willis can beat him with the pass. But why not start the game that way and set the tone that way? That was something that I wondered as it got worse and worse and worse in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I think coaches in general are creatures of habit, and they do and will continue to do as long as the game continues to be played and coaches remain coaches, or at least the guys that I grew up around and played with and understood their mentality and the way they think, are always going to go back to what they know and what they can rely on. And regardless of if it's a new QB or not, they're going to start with what they know and what these guys have been coached and what the structure of the defense is. And then they'll make adjustments off that. Do I think Bradley could have made that change a little sooner? He needed to. Obviously he needed to, but he didn't. But with that, Matt LaFleur, and this is what I kind of brought up in the first thing I started talking about, Matt LaFleur did a good job of keeping personnel groupings on the field that gave the threat that Malik Willis could throw the football. And they could get into mismatches very easily and be cut open through simple pass plays, not even really deep, intricate routes, but simple pass plays that if you start throwing out, 5 linemen or 5 D linemen on the field and 2 linebackers, and you only got 4 corners and they're in 11 personnel or 4 DBs, so to speak, and you're in 11 personnel, who's covering all the receivers if they do throw it?
Right.
I mean, now you're putting linebackers on Wicks or Dobbs, and it just turns into a mismatch. So Gus Bradley has to play the way the personnel groupings come on the field. All defensive coordinators will speak to that, and you have to match personnel as best as you can, even though there's over a 50% chance they're going to run. What if they don't? We'd rather make Green Bay have to earn their way down the field than, not match personnel properly and get gashed open by a pass and give up an easy touchdown that could have been avoidable. Now, with that, you saw adjustments get made in the second half, and I'm sure there were some choice words in that Colts locker room at halftime about the performance that was shown in the first half. And the Colts, to their credit, they bowed up. They did play, a cleaner half, so to speak.
Sure.
Than they did in the first defensively. But the damage, in my opinion, had been done already. It really had been. Like, the offense got accomplished what they needed to get accomplished. They established a run game. They made that threat well known early on, and then they managed the game in the second half. And defensively, the Packers got done what they needed to get done early. They made the Colts earn everything that they got, and those two things decided the game. So I don't want to say that like Gus Bradley hadn't just got straight up out coached.
No, but he did. He did.
But Matt LaFleur put together a plan that it was the better plan of the day, and he did a better job of keeping Gus Bradley guessing and not being able to put in the appropriate defense to stop what Green Bay was doing. So, I don't look at it as, Gus Bradley should have done X, Y, and Z. I think I'm putting all the compliments on Matt LaFleur and what that offensive staff put together throughout the week to keep that defense guessing. And to me, that was the glaring, standout thing that to me was Matt LaFleur and that staff. They anticipated what the Colts were going to do, and they made adjustments early in the week and not mid-game. And the Colts were trying to make adjustments mid-game, and by that point, too late.
Yeah. All right. I want to get to a little bit more about how they designed their runs in addition to the personnel groupings. I want to get to vomiting on the football, which I did not think was going to be a topic, but that was really something. And I want to get to something that LaFleur said when the Packers were being booed by the fans for being so conservative and not trying to score at the end of the first half. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a couple more calls next. So Sparky in Sussex, I know you've been on hold for a while. Stay there. Eric in Green Bay, I know you've been on hold for a while. Stay there. We'll get to you coming up next. And then we will get to some of these other topics. I always want to take advantage of having Blue here because his insights are second to none. Don't tell Tausch, but he's got a lot of good insights, too. He's just not here today. So we will do that. We'll play some trivia as well. That's all still ahead. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
After every single green and gold game,
You can say it doesn't matter, but that's not being fair.
there's only one place to go for instant reaction.
Once, since they won the Super Bowl in 2010, one season, have they done better than 10th in points given up.
And to give yours on the Boda Box Wine Line. Tune into Green Bay Game Night with Homer after every green and gold game. Right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
I was stuffed up. It was almost like someone put a clothespin over my nose. As an athlete, it did affect my performance. And as I got older, the congestion and poor sleep really took their toll.
Mike's a lifetime athlete. After hearing about Advent, he felt he could finally find a solution to his breathing triangle problems.
With my congestion, the kind of sleep I was getting wasn't allowing me to function the way I wanted to.
When your nose isn't working like it should be, it's going to negatively affect your sleep. And then you really can't be at your best at anything that you're doing.
It's been about 5 years since coming to Advent, and what balloon sinuplasty did for my quality of life, that step I took was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Balloon sinuplasty can help solve your breathing triangle problems, which will help you sleep better. And that's going to help you live a better quality of life.
Unlock your potential. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff. We like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated and uncompromising, like an award-winning men's grooming experience from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Open 7 days a week, even Sundays. Walk in anytime, and before you know it, our talented stylist will bring you back to a simpler time, a time when you were handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Avenue, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Getting 10% back is easy at Fleet Farm. For a limited time only, Fleet Rewards members can earn 10% back in-store and online. Spend $50, get $5 back in rewards. No rebates, no coupons, no hassles. Plus, Fleet Rewards membership is free. So if you're not signed up yet, now's the time. Then get shopping to earn 10% back on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm. Some exclusions apply. Not valid at Ankeny and Waukee, Iowa stores.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and football season is here. Are you ready to make some money? Have you bet on sports before? That probably did not go great. I can help you make money. Go to fatjacksports.com and get dialed in to turn a profit. The picks are emailed to you. They're on your personal portal on the website, and you can pay less than $50 a week for longer packages to make money betting this football season. Fatjacksports.com, the only place you need to go. 100% transparent, and will turn you profit this season at fatjacksports.com.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at Right Choice Tax Resolution. April 15th has come and gone. Now the love letters from the IRS and state start coming. Those certified green envelopes seem to strike fear in the person or business that gets them. You may also be lucky enough to get a personal visit from a revenue officer if you owe a lot of money. If you get a letter or visit, contact us immediately. We can help. We don't make judgments about why you got a letter or visit. We just want to help you resolve your situation so you can get on with your life. Don't let your bank account get wiped out, your paycheck or Social Security check get cut in half with garnishments, or a lien put on your house so you can't sell it or get refinanced. The state can even put a hold on your occupational license. Make the right choice and visit rightchoicetax.us today. Schedule a free meeting so we can talk and come up with a solution to solve your situation now. If you wait, it will not go away. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Get back to the phones, 844-770-3776. We'll also check out some of your text messages coming up. Let's start with Eric in Green Bay. Eric, thanks for holding on, buddy. We appreciate you. What do you got for us?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're great. How are you?
Doing well. That commercial came at the perfect time. I had to check out at Festival Food, so I was able to scurry through and get to the car in time.
We aim to please.
Alrighty, so quick positives. I think most of the big things have been covered, but I kind of want to touch base on Matt LaFleur in a little bit more detail. And obviously, he was, giving his flowers to Malik Willis after the game, and the amount of preparation and how fast he took all that information in. But I don't really think he took the opportunity, obviously, to pat his own back. And I think as a teacher, to be able to prioritize and kind of itemize, hey, you're not going to know it all, but this is what you need to know to get through this week. I think he did a masterful job in, what he exposed Malik Willis to and how they were able to work together. And then obviously the play calls throughout the game to, kind of talk about there's a big term this week kind of going into the Badger game. It's related to that was like a signature win versus Alabama. And I kind of look at for Matt LaFleur, for him inheriting Aaron Rodgers, he didn't really get a lot of credit for a lot of his early success because he was handed the keys to a Ferrari. Mm-hmm. But I think for him, this was one of his signature wins at this point. Again, given the circumstances of a backup quarterback and the lack of preparation to pretty much control the majority of the game. I think fantastic job. And then one more positive real quick. Daniel Whelan. I mean, all three of his punts inside the 20. He had that 59-yard bomb, too. Just to give a little love for the Brad Nortmans of the world, that punters are people, too. Super, super underappreciated. And I know our special teams has been under a lot of scrutiny, but that was a huge bright spot, flipping the field 3 times.
Agreed. Yeah. You got any negatives, or was it just all positives for you, Eric?
Oh, there were negatives, too. I think a lot of them have been covered. Has it been 2 straight weeks? Did Quay drop the pick week 1, too? Well,
they've only played 2 games, so yeah, two straight weeks.
I didn't know if that was him doing it. I think that was him, week 1, that dropped the pick, yes, but that was 2. We are 2 for 2. I think, if he makes a play there, that kind of you give a little bit more forgiveness for the missed tackles and kind of being in the wrong place at the wrong time throughout the game. But, kicking and run defense and Quay Walker are kind of the negatives that have been covered.
All right, thanks for the call, Eric, and I'm glad you got your grocery shopping done as well. Let me go back to what Eric said quickly, and then we'll get to Sparky. Brian, look, everyone has an ego, right? I mean, some of us control it better than others. Some of us are motivated by different things than others. Matt LaFleur does have an ego. I don't want to pretend that he doesn't. But he is quick to say, it starts with me. Whether he believes that or not, he always says it starts with me, even if, say, guys don't execute a really good game plan. And I thought yesterday, what's he going to say, right? Yeah, boy, I really schemed him up, man. Woo! This is one of my best games I've ever put together. But he does, to Eric's point, he does deserve credit, him and Steno and the whole offensive staff. I just thought it was a master class in how to win a game with a guy that you don't really know yet. I mean, he kept saying he's been here for 3 weeks. That can't be easy to do as a coach, as opposed to, even with Jordan Love going into the Kansas City game in 2021, at least he had been around Jordan Love. At least he had some idea beyond 20 days of what he was capable of. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, 100%. And, no, listen, the coaches they're always going to, the buck stops with them, and they'll always say that. And, good, bad, or indifferent, they're the ones at the podium right away, and they got to be accountable. And I think Matt LaFleur does a really good job of that, when it's both sides of the coin, right? Like you saw it in Philly, and then you saw it this week. He takes responsibility. And the thing is, which I think players really appreciate about him, is that he does do that all the time, and he does it also in team meetings, right? If something wasn't good enough from their end, he'll take accountability for it. Mm-hmm. It's not like he says one thing to the media and then goes in the team room and says something completely different. So guys respect him and they appreciate him for that. But with that, he deserves a lot of credit. And we touched on it earlier. It takes some guts to go, not just with the guy that's been there for 18 or 20 days, whatever it was, but then to completely change the game plan from what you're used to doing and what this offense normally looks like, and completely change it, run the ball 53 times, which, again, I can't remember the last time the Packers have ever done that.
It's because it was in 1978.
Okay, so so a little while. It's been a little while since they've done that. And completely change an identity of a team from 1 week to the next. And that takes a lot of guts, and it could have blown up in his face, or it turned out being the way that it did, and the guys responded to it, and they played really well. So he deserves a ton of credit for this. And Steno and Butkus, I mean, those are the guys that – and listen, the wide receivers did a really nice job blocking downfield too.
They did.
That's something that I thought improved a lot from week 1 to week 2 was – the wide receivers getting on their aiming points and getting the second level blocked up. So that was a really positive thing for me as well. Those are the guys that when you run the ball 53 times, that's the head coach that calls the plays, Steno, who's the OC, who is very involved with the offensive line, and the offensive line coach. When you got a game plan that's, hey, we're running the rock, I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on the tight ends and the linemen to get the job done, and the receivers have to buy in. They got to be part of it, and they were. And it was a complete effort from head coach to the tight ends coach, to the wide receivers coach, running backs, O-line. Like, these guys were all on the same page. They bought in, and the result was good. And it takes the head coach to get these guys to buy into it. The messaging has to be right. The plan has to be right. And the belief was there from top to bottom, and that's what we saw. So, yeah, would we have loved another touchdown or another? Yeah, of course. But, like, we all knew this wasn't going to be the cleanest, prettiest thing. And going into it, like, if you would have told me that we'd rush for whatever, how many yards we did,
261,
control the game, and rush for 261, control the game, and score 16 points and win, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. I would have taken it if it ended up being 10-7, and we still played the same way, and we won that ball game. So, like, from top to bottom, that was really well done, and LaFleur deserves a ton of credit for it.
Let's get to one more call. Let's talk to Sparky in Sussex. Sparky, thanks for holding on, buddy. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great today. Great Monday morning. Just wanted to say, I think Tausch better be careful. He takes many more days off. He's going to get Wally pipped here pretty soon.
I'm not saying it. You're not. I'm just. You're just saying. You're just speaking the truth. That's all. Wildy and Bulaga has a ring. It sure does. Wildy and Blue. We can get very creative. Were you at the game yesterday?
Yeah, it was the hottest game I've ever been to. It was god awful. I mean, it's funny that the hottest game I've ever been to was in Green Bay, and the coldest was in Miami on Christmas Day almost 2 years ago because it was 47, rainy, windy, and you weren't dressed for it. So it's just such an odd juxtaposition. But it was miserable. And that was actually my positive was the time of possession. I think it was 2-1. Yep. I mean, I believe those linemen were all dumping a lot of weight, and I wonder how they're doing today because they were taking some people out from the stands. We actually went down for a couple minutes. I went down just before halftime to just get in the concourse because the sun was just unbelievable. Yeah. So it was just a great job by the offense and the line just controlling things.
Hey, Sparky, we're going to get probably in the 11 o'clock hour to the puking part of this, and we'll find out how many times has Brian Bulaga vomited on the field. So you want to stay tuned for that. But I am curious because we know you have your season tickets. I didn't think they took over the stadium by any stretch, but did it feel like there were more Colts fans there than what you were expecting?
It definitely did. In fact, we had one sitting right in front of us with some other Packer fans, and he was pretty happy about those first few holding calls, but it was great to have him quiet down as the game went on, especially at the end. But I definitely agree. I thought there was a lot more blue in the stadium than we would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise to me as well when I was walking up after we got done with after I got done anyway with Green Bay game day. Did you have a negative?
The only negative was not the Packers. It was, I guess, they were running out of water at halftime. So
wait, the concession stands were?
Yeah, they were out, so people were trying to go into the restrooms, and there were actually lines for the sinks to get water. And
oh my God.
The water stream, it's a spray. So people are trying to bend their water bottles to get whatever they could in there. It was just amazing. So I don't know if they just didn't stock enough or what the situation was, but that was pretty nasty.
Wow. All right. Well, you're always our man on the street and in the stands and in the concourse. So thanks for your call, Sparky. We appreciate you. Brian, we'll get to the vomiting. Let's get to the vomiting next. Let's not make people wait any longer. Okay? We'll do that next.
Fair enough.
And Malik Willis was, it sounds like, not pleased that he had to carry around and almost had to throw a ball that was at least partially covered in Josh Myers' stomach contents. So we'll get to that coming up. I don't think that you can sue over something like that, but if you do need legal representation, I don't think Malik needs it against Josh. But in all seriousness, if you've been injured and you need legal representation, I hope you never need to make this call, but all you got to do is make that one call. That's all. 414-276-6666, 414-276-6666. That's the number to call. for Gruber Law Offices. David Gruber and his team, go to gruber-law.com to find out more about the firm, about all the great things they do in our communities, and all the great lawyers they have. Again, Gruber Law Offices, one call. That's all. We'll get to the puke next. It's Wildy and Tausch.
This is Wildy and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Hey, Jeff Levering here. How are baseball and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin alike? Pella manufactures all their own products. Baseball teams develop their own players in the minors. Pella tests every product thousands of times to ensure it stands the test of time. A baseball player's ultimate test is to get called up to the big leagues, hoping to play well enough to stay. Right now at Pella, get as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. Certain restrictions apply. It ends September 30th. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art Brookfield office. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. And now, Holtebeck Eye Center is excited to add Dr. Nausheen Abbas to their team. Dr. Abbas is an ophthalmologist and cornea specialist that is now available to see patients. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol, learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Quick Trip continues our quest to make you the most fun person on the planet with ground beef at just $2.99 a pound. Come on, yeah, that's fun. Ground beef is a party in a package. Grill outs, burgers, street tacos, spaghetti and meatball movie nights. Beef up the fun and freezer up for fall, tailgates, and chili. And why would you ever cook in when you can grill out? At $2.99 a pound, you can grill every meal. Oh, and we also have any and everything else you need. Quick Trip, we got your good times covered.
$1 million. That's big, really big. This September, Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee is handing out a cool million, and you've got a shot at winning your share. The big $1 million giveaway is here. Just play with your rewards card and you're entered to win. Couldn't be easier and couldn't be bigger. No wonder it's called the Big One. For more details, visit paysbig.com/big one. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Buck superstar Giannis.
You know, and then I'm going to like Chris at the time. What did coach mean? What do you...
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in a Lambeau, and I have to, right? What is this Lambeau league?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
Wildy and Tausch is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka produced in Austin, Texas, and naturally gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka.
So it was hot, as Sparky mentioned. 85 degrees, the temperature. I'm sure it felt like about 110 on the field with the exertion. We saw Elton Jenkins come to the sideline and projectile vomit. And then going viral during the game, Josh Myers, just milliseconds before snapping the ball, turns his head to the left and bleh, and apparently some of it got on the ball, and he snapped it to Malik Willis, and then had to block a guy. We'll get Brian's puke stories in a second. Here's how Matt LaFleur retold the story to us after the game.
Yeah, I asked Malik why he didn't throw the ball on that third down, and he told me that Josh threw up on the ball. I was like, that's the first time I've ever heard that. Matter of fact, the official came over to me, Sean came over to me and said, you know, we saw your center thrown up on the ball. Do you want us to take him out next time? I said, absolutely, please do that, because, I mean, you're talking about a critical situation, and it's third down, and I've never had a throw with vomit on a football. So I don't know. I don't think Malik probably didn't appreciate that.
No, he probably didn't, and it's kind of gross. But the Packers were capable of overcoming that. They did end up having to punt there, but as was mentioned earlier, Daniel Whelan, terrific day. All right, Brian, you played in the league for 12 years. You played in, 150, 170 games. How many times did you puke during a game?
Zero. I never puked during a game. No, I just, listen, like, I hate vomiting. Like, it is like, I will force myself to not do that. Like, it's literally like, you know, I just hate it. Like, when I'm sick, like, it is like,
yeah,
no,
it's gross.
I just hate it. And I just, you know, but I've never, I don't know, like, I've never felt like I had to throw up on the football field. Like, it was never something like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so nauseous or dehydrated that, like, I have to, like, I've never felt that. So, like, I don't know. I've seen guys do it. I've seen guys do it on the field, opposing teams, our team. I've seen it on the sidelines. But I've never personally had to have. Like, I know I've been sick before a game. Like, I was ill and I was throwing up in the locker room or something like that, okay, like in a garbage can. But never, like, mid-play, like we saw Myers do, just, you know, throw up and then snap a ball like you said, a millisecond later. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, that's like, you know, would be something you'd see in, like, any given Sunday, like a movie or something like that, right? Like, I think that happened in Varsity Blues. Didn't Billy Bob, like, throw up after the night of drinking on the field? And, like, something like that. So, like, and then you said Elton projectile vomited as he was coming up. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, that's wild to me. So I don't know what I don't know what the guys were doing pregame or what they were eating, if they didn't think it was going to be that hot out and they ate a huge breakfast and went out there and like, I don't know what it was, but I mean, I feel bad for Willis having to handle that ball after he blew chunks on it. That's disgusting. Like, I'll just be honest with you. Like, that's absolutely just gross. So, you know, first of all, props to Myers for actually being able to snap the ball as it's full of puke and he's vomiting.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive that wasn't a fumble. And then obviously props to Willis seeing that there's vomit on the ball and actually still, like, doing something with it and making a positive play out of it. Like, hats off to both of them. But Myers, he owes something. He owes something to Willis after throwing up on a ball and then snapping it back to him. Like, here you go, have fun with it, do something with it. Like, it's,
So does he, you know, take us inside the Thursday night O-line dinners? Like, is he, I suppose with Elton doing it too, it's a little bit harder to give him grief about it, but is he's going to hear about it in meetings today, right? And he's going to hear about it. He's going to get some grief all week long from his fellow offensive linemen, right?
There's no doubt. I mean, the razzing that's going to happen at O-line dinner and in that meeting room is going to be, it should be next level. It should be really good. Like, okay, Elton threw up on the sideline as he was coming off. It wasn't on the field or it wasn't on the ball. Like, okay, like that's fine. Like, you puke off the field, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. Like, okay. But when you throw up on the field and then you throw up on the ball and listen, I get it's like our barbaric sport and guys are out there beating the hell out of each other and it's football. But at the end of the day, guys still looking at it like, I may land in that puke or I may put my hand down in the ground and it's in that puke. And like, at the end of the day, like, these are still like human beings that look at that as like, that's disgusting. Like, that's really gross. I'd love to hear what one of the Colts D linemen thought that was lined up across from Myers, saying what he thought when the dude just turned his head, puked real quick, then snapped the ball. He's probably like, what was that? He's probably like, what just happened right there? Like, that's disgusting. So, like, yeah, like, I just I've never seen that happen mid-play like that. Like, I've seen guys, like, you know, after a play, like, kind of walk over, throw up on the side, like, throw up on the ground and then get back in the huddle, but, like, never mid-play, just blow chunks and continue on like it didn't happen.
Maybe it distracted the Colts lineman. They couldn't get off the line as quick
or
after seeing him vomit.
He's looking at him. He's got little puke in his like beard. He's just being grossed out. I don't even want to touch this guy. I think Donovan McNabb famously like threw up in the huddle, which would be just as bad, if not worse, because now you're surrounded by your 10 teammates and you're puking onto their shoes as they're all waiting for the play call.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be great either. All right, what will be great is
like the replacements. It was like the replacements. Remember in the replacements when he threw up in the huddle and they all shuffled over to one side because like, if you puke, that means I'm going to puke. I can't see that. And then they, like, that's what that reminds me of.
And that is, I will say that, it is true that when you see someone puke, suddenly you feel nauseous. And it can be contagious.
Is that a medical thing? Like a condition?
I don't think so. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on the radio. I just know I have felt nauseated myself after seeing someone else, as Brian so eloquently puts it, blow chunks. All right, we need to play trivia. Riley, what is the category you've put together, and which caller would you like?
Sports Weekend Recap Trivia, as per usual on a Monday. Jason, you're going to love this. There's one UFC question.
Well, I hope the contestant knows something about it. It doesn't bother me either way. All right, what caller do you want?
I'd like caller number 8 for Josh Jacobs. Had a phenomenal game minus the fumble, so let's go caller number 8.
He ran for 151 yards. Caller 151. Caller 8 right now, 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Caller 8 plays trivia next. It's Wildy and Tausch.
Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. With delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian, Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer. Even when you think you know what's going on,
well, all men hate cold water because of shrinkage.
You can never be too sure.
I like how you dropped
Is that what it is?
Like you were just...
Thought we were going to get
I'm right.
You're not wrong.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
I did not expect to wrap up today's little episode with the word shrinkage. So,
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Getting 10% back is easy at Fleet Farm. For a limited time only, Fleet Rewards members can earn 10% back in-store and online. Spend Spend $50, get $5 back in rewards. No rebates, no coupons, no hassles. Plus, Fleet Rewards membership is free. So if you're not signed up yet, now's the time. Then get shopping to earn 10% back on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm. Some exclusions apply. Not valid at Ankeny and Waukee, Iowa stores.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and football season is here. Are you ready to make some money? Have you bet on sports before? That probably did not go great. I can help you make money. Go to fatjacksports.com and get dialed in to turn a profit. The picks are emailed to you. They're on your personal portal on the website, and you can pay less than $50 a week for longer packages to make money betting this football season. Fatjacksports.com, the only place you need to go. 100% transparent, and will turn you profit this season at fatjacksports.com.
This time of year can be really tough on a number of areas in your home. If you're struggling with any electrical issues, the superheroes at Current Electric are ready to help you. Chuck Smith is a Brookfield Central grad who started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality. Whether it's as small as a switch repair or as large as rewiring your entire home to a generator to keep your lights on, or even interest in solar energy, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at Right Choice Tax Resolution. The IRS has you in their crosshairs. We know how to deal with the IRS and solve your situation. Just the other week, we successfully removed the target on a client who had been audited and was told he owed the IRS. We fought the notice and got him a refund instead. We also were successful with another client to get $94,000 of penalties removed. This is why we started Right Choice Tax Resolution, to help people fight the IRS and state. You don't know the ins and outs of taxes or the more than 20 penalties they can impose on you. We don't judge you. We just want to help so your bank account doesn't get wiped out, your paycheck or Social Security get cut in half from garnishments, or a lien put on your house or that house you want to buy. Get rid of that stress and get back to enjoying life. Go to rightchoicetax.us right now to book a meeting. We get you may be embarrassed or angry. The situation won't go away if you do nothing. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Time is running out on the Brewers regular season. Hurry up and catch the crew battle the Diamondbacks September 20th through the 22nd for College Night and a Brewers Puppy Vest giveaway on the 21st. Get your seats now at brewers.com/tickets.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Wildy and Tausch is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka produced in Austin, Texas, and naturally gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka. Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza, with delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian. Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
I'm not afraid of getting old, and I will escape from dying young.
Time for trivia. Let's welcome in our contestants. It is Jerry in the Prairie. Jerry, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
So you've played this game a lot. Have you ever played when Brian was in as the cousin sub of the day? Cousin subs, we believe in better.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, there's a first time for everything, and Brian's got question 2. So let's begin with question 1, which is this. What is the name of Alabama's first-year head coach who led the Tide to a 42-10 victory over Wisconsin on Saturday? Is it Jalen Milroe, Kalen DeBoer, or Gabe Neitzel?
I'm going to go with A.
The perfect week is over on the first question. Kalen DeBoer. DeBoer?
Never heard of him.
He was the Washington coach that took them to the college football championship. And now he's the Crimson Tide's head coach. Roll Tide. And they did at Camp Randall on Saturday. All right, let's bounce back, Jerry. Brian, you've got question number 2.
All right, Jerry, question 2. The Milwaukee Brewers lost to which National League West team last night after a blown save from Jared Koenig? Was it
Arizona?
A. Okay.
Managed by Kalen
Didn't even
DeBoer.
have to go through it.
All right. We're 1 for 2. Jerry, here's question 3.
All right.
Which Georgian, the country, not the state, fighter defeated Sean O'Malley to claim the UFC bantamweight title at UFC 309 on Saturday? Was it Diego Lopes, or is that Lopez?
Lopez with an S. It's fine.
Thank you. Question. That's one option. 2, Corey Sandhagen or Sandhagen. Or 3, and there's no way I'm going to pronounce this name correctly, Merab Dashkavili.
Close enough. Davalishvili.
Davalishvili. Merab Davalishvili. Who you got, Jerry?
We'll go. I'm going to go with that one you couldn't pronounce.
C is correct.
Correct.
Frankly, that same name sounded made up for a moment there. All right, well, you got 2 out of 3. That means you got 3 of the possible 4 entries into Friday's drawing. The rare get the first one wrong, get the last 2 right. Doesn't happen very often when we play trivia, but you did it today. Jerry, thanks for your loyalty to the show, buddy. We appreciate you.
Thanks. Love you guys.
That is Wilde and Tausch trivia, and what a trivia it was. All right, we will kick off the 11 o'clock hour. Scheduled to appear from Unsportsmanlike is Michelle Smallman, or as I call her, Mishmel, because I mispronounce her name half the time. She and I were in the same place, and yet I didn't get to meet her. She was at the Tundra Trio. They did the national ESPN radio from there. We did Green Bay Game Day from there. But I didn't actually get to talk to her, even though I like to think I'm the number one reason why she's a Packers fan, because I did such a great job of convincing her when she appeared on our show. So she will talk to us. But I do want to get to what Brian saw from the scheming. We talked about how well the line blocked. We talked about personnel groups. What did he see from the scheming of the run game that allowed it to be so productive? A little tackle talk with Brian Bulaga to kick off the 11 o'clock hour. That starts in 2 minutes. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. With delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian, Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
Jeff Levering here. How are baseball and Pella windows and doors of Wisconsin alike? Pella manufactures all their own products. Baseball teams develop their own players in the minors. Pella tests every product thousands of times to ensure it stands the test of time. A baseball player's ultimate test is to get called up to the big leagues, hoping to play well enough to stay. Right now at Pella, get as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. Certain restrictions apply. It ends September 30th. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Go to the head of the class on your next vehicle purchase exclusively at the Kunis Auto Group's Back to School sales event.
Good morning, class.
Expect a straight A passing grade when you add up the savings on your next vehicle from the automotive scholars at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships. America's best-selling cars, trucks, and SUVs from both Buick and GMC, all marked down with September back-to-school discounts and savings. We're also offering incredible back-to-school discounts on our entire inventory of select pre-owned vehicles. Choose from over 1,500 vehicles on lot and online. While online, check out dozens of back-to-school service specials on everything from brakes, tires to oil changes. Plus, with a test driver purchase each week in September, 4 lucky winners will win free gas for a year. All at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships in both Oak Creek and Greenfield. It's the Kunis Auto Group's exclusive September back-to-school sales event going on now. For additional event info, go to shopkunis.com.
Cheer on your UW Whitewater Warhawks as they return home to face Mary Hardin Baylor this Saturday at Perkins Stadium. These perennial Division III football national powers kick off at 1 p.m. Be there for this huge non-conference matchup on Alumni Day in Whitewater. Get tickets now at uwwsports.com or the day of. Experience national championship level college football this Saturday when the Warhawks welcome in the Crusaders at 1 p.m. Warhawk football, powered by tradition.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune into Kyle Breston Nortman from 2 to 5 every day. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wildy and Tausch. With Brian Balaga in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Starts now. All right, Brian, let's get into a little X's and O's here, and we'll do it again on Wednesday when you are scheduled to appear for your regular time slot with us. But, you talked about the run game in terms of how well the line blocked. You talked about the personnel groupings that were making it difficult on Gus Bradley to match up. But what I was really fascinated by was you said in the very beginning of the show that they were basic runs, but they were dressed up in a way that made them much more perplexing to the defense, right? We saw Bo Melton have a big gain on an end around. We saw, Jaden Reed had actually 2 rushes. One was actually a pass that they threw behind the line of scrimmage. That's how little downfield they were going. They were actually throwing the ball backwards. So it was thrown like a pass, but it counted as a run. But he also had another jet sweep. But I thought the motions and the fakes were really a wrinkle that I hadn't seen before. What did you make of those as you watched those unfold?
Yeah, I mean, it was very creative. I mean, we're looking at, what stood out to me right away, and this happened really early on, was Jaden Reed in the backfield with Josh Jacobs and with Malik Willis in shotgun. Like, that's not something we have seen. I can't remember the last time we've seen that from Matt LaFleur and the way they're setting up. I mean, we look at kind of this run game, and, yeah, there's gun runs, but there's also a lot of under center runs. And we saw very heavy gun run formations, and with that, you're able to do a lot of these things that you mentioned. You're allowed to you're putting receivers back there, right? Which then tells the defensive side of the ball, yeah, there's still an 11 personnel. There is still one back, one tight end, but one wide receiver's lined up in the backfield, and he can get the ball, he can run routes out of the backfield. So that causes that defense to freeze for a minute because they got to get their IDs right and matchups correct. And then when you start motioning those guys back and forth in the backfield and snap the ball, the defense's eyes automatically will follow our most explosive player in Reed. They're going to follow him, see what that happens. And then in the meantime, Jacobs is getting the ball downhill fast coming at you, and you're splitting the defense in half. One side's reading Reed, the other half is trying to read Jacobs, and you're creating confusion within the defense, which we saw a bunch. A lot of jet sweeps and jet sweep motions and things like that pulls the attention of defenses in one way, the ball goes the other. And, you get that split action type feel from a defense that you cut it in half. And when you can cut a defense in half, your odds are a lot better than having to make sure that you're hat on a hat every single guy. Also, which I thought was really good, a lot of that like zone read type of action that we saw from Malik Willis. Like a lot of action that he could pull it and throw it. He could pull it and keep it and run. Because obviously the Colts knew this was a guy that could run the ball, right? Like he could keep the ball quite a bit. He could run it himself. So that threat of him keeping it, I think, held the Colts quite a bit on the backside of runs. That if they over pursued, Willis could keep it and get out the backside and get a big gain. So lots of misdirection, lots of eye candy, lots of motions. lots of different formations out of, normal personnels, 11, 12, but just different variations of it with tight ends in the backfield, receivers in the backfield that you haven't seen from the Packers, especially this season when Jordan Love was under center. New things that the defense probably wasn't prepared for that LaFleur threw out there, and they were able to catch the Colts off guard quite a bit with it. And it was very impressive to see LaFleur go to those early and often, and it worked out well.
All right, so there's another clip, and I want Riley to play this for us, because one of the other things that I thought was really interesting was the way the crowd reacted at the end of the first half, right? I don't know, were you able to pick it up on television as you were watching? Because
I was, yeah.
Okay, so they get the ball, for those of you that weren't watching or are relying on us, so they get the ball back with 1:42 seconds left in the half. And they've got their backup quarterback playing, but they hand off to Jacobs on first down. He gains 7 yards. Tick, 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 tick. By the time they run their next play, it's at 1:06. Okay, so now it's 3rd and 1 from the 29-yard line. Okay, so we've gone from 142 to 106, and then they let the clock run, and LaFleur pops a timeout with 20 seconds left. So now it's 3rd and 1, 20 seconds, they hand it to Jacobs, he gets the first down, and then they all run off the field. And it's not my job to criticize fan behavior. I'm not saying that they were wrong. They just want to be entertained. I get it. But I was a little surprised that they booed. Like, there have been times, and you've been on teams that deserved it, who deserved to get booed on their way off the field. You would even acknowledge that. So, but this so you knew what he was doing, right? Like, you knew that he's playing with Malik Willis. He's been here 3 weeks. To have him throwing the ball around the yard to get more points, probably not a smart idea. Here is Matt LaFleur explaining his thought process when asked about the conservative nature of the final 2 minutes of the first half.
Some might call that conservative. I call that being smart. The guy had they had 3 timeouts. I mean, like I said, Malik has been here for 3 weeks. To put him in a 2-minute situation at the end of the half when you're up 10-0, I would call that reckless.
Reckless. He was ticked, and it wasn't at the person who asked the question. It was at the fans for booing him. Brian, what did you think as you saw that unfold in real time, both the lollygagging to run out the clock and then the fan reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with LaFleur that, like, there's no need to put him in that situation when you're up 10, you're controlling the game. I understand, but I get it from the fan side. Like, they thought, and probably the feel in the build or in Lambeau is that they had the Colts on the run. If they were able to get a field goal or a touchdown, it might have just completely sealed the deal, right? So I understand what they were hoping to see. But at the same time, you look at it from managing the game and protecting your lead and protecting the momentum you have. There was no need to try to, force a 2-minute drive. Now, if Jacobs pops a run for 30 yards right off the get, then your mindset changes and you maybe go into a little bit of that 2-minute mode, but still protect him in the standpoint of like 2-minute mechanics, getting up to the ball, play calling, all that going through his head. You still got to protect him. So, like, I'm okay with LaFleur doing what he did, and I understand from the fans in the stadium and what they were hoping to see, but I'm not sure I'm on board with the booing because, like, no one was really expecting the team to play that way, and they're up 10-0 at half with their backup quarterback, and They played really well, so why not? Why would you give the Colts any momentum and give them the ball back, and maybe they get a field goal, or maybe they, pop a big play and they get a touchdown? Then everyone's looking at that going, why didn't he just run out the clock? Why did he give him the ball back? Things of that nature. So, I'm good with the way LaFleur did it. I think it's fine. I have no problem with it. Obviously, it turned out well. There was no harm, no foul done there, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, and let's be honest. First of all, we are all, myself included, and you as a player, are very much conditioned after Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers that 142 with your timeout still in your pocket, you're definitely scoring a touchdown more often than not. With Aaron Rodgers.
Zone, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Not with Malik Willis. And secondly, the Colts were getting the ball coming out of the half. If Malik Willis throws a pick six and it goes to 10-7 at the half, and then the Colts get the ball, and then they go in and score, and now you're losing 14-10, that is the exact scenario you are trying to prevent, because now suddenly you can't just run the ball all day, because now you're going to have your quarterback who just got here 3 weeks ago make some plays for you. And while he made one to Romeo Doubs down the field, you did not want to have to live that way yesterday. So I get it. We are all used to 142 with all your timeouts, ample time to go down and get a touchdown. Totally get it. But that's with Jordan Love. That's with Aaron Rodgers. That's not with the new guy. I mean, that's even with Matt Flynn. You could probably do it. But not where Malik Willis is at right now. And maybe a year from now, if Jordan Love misses a game and they're in the exact same situation and Malik Willis is still their backup, maybe they do it differently. But it was definitely the right call for yesterday, given the circumstances. Speaking of yesterday, we had our Green Bay Game Day pregame show live from the Tundra Trio. ESPN Radio was on nationally. I got done with my portion of Green Bay Game Day pregame and had to leave for the stadium, and I heard Michelle Smallman doing ESPN Radio nationally, so I never got to talk to her. So we will talk to her, the star, if we're being honest, of Unsportsmanlike. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio. After every single green and gold game,
you can say it doesn't matter, but that's not being fair.
There's only one place to go for instant reaction.
Once, since they won the Super Bowl in 2010, one season, have they done better than 10th in points given up.
And to give yours on the Boda Box Wine Line. Tune into Green Bay Game Night with Homer after every green and gold game. Right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
The Island invites you to fall into golf with late season rounds at Sweetgrass or Sage Run. The vibrant fall colors and cooler temperatures make for great days out on the golf course. Fall golf rates run September 16th through the end of the 2024 season, with tee time starting at $75 and stay and play packages starting at $110. And submit your 2025 golf package request early to guarantee choice dates. Plan your fall golf adventure today at islandresortgolf.com.
Looking for that ultimate game day hangout during football season? Welcome to Magoo's on the Mound, now open at 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. With 13 TVs, you won't miss a moment of the action. Enjoy our free 100-square pool with amazing prizes and a complimentary halftime buffet. Plus, we've got great drink specials to keep you cheering. And don't forget, we offer shuttles to and from all Milwaukee baseball games. Magoo's on the Mound, where green and gold fans gather and where every game day is a win.
Gabe Neitzel here. I know you've already heard me talking about how Mentality has helped me over the years, but there are others like me. Jason has been using Mentality for a while now and is loving the results.
I have gotten a handful of friends, probably a couple dozen, especially those that are closer to my age, maybe even a little bit older, because I just tell them, you got to check this out. Do not wait any longer. Just go and admit it. Yep, you're at an age where things are slowing down. I promise you, you're not going to regret it, and that's truly what I get. I'll get a phone call after, like, man, I feel like a kid at Chuck E. Cheese right now.
Learn more today at LowTusa.com.
Milwaukee College Prep, dedicated to closing the opportunity gap for children in Milwaukee, redefining what's educationally possible so more children can pursue their dreams. Join me, Good Karma Brand's founder CEO Craig Karmazin, and Milwaukee College Prep Thursday, October 17th, and take a stand in closing the opportunity gap for Milwaukee scholars. Your support means quality education accessible to over 2,000 scholars in Milwaukee's most challenged communities. Milwaukee College Prep is closing the opportunity gap. To learn more and purchase tickets, go to MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com and click support.
Frank Daniels, our Madison Goldsmith, has an idea.
Bring him in.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
It's great to see you, Frank. What's your idea?
It's a new company policy.
Let's hear it.
You know the world-famous Kessler's warranty?
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed. It's just that simple. Even if you lose a diamond, including the center stone, we'll replace it. All maintenance is free forever. Yes, it really is that miraculous.
Every time I hear that warranty, it blows my mind.
I propose we have a jewelry cleaning policy that's as amazing as that warranty.
What would it say?
Bring us your jewelry and we'll professionally clean it. While you wait, for free. You can come in as often as you want, and we don't care where you bought your jewelry. The only thing that matters is that you want it to look amazing again. We want that too.
I vote yes.
I vote yes. I vote yes. The motion carries.
Congratulations, Frank. Your idea is now company policy.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hey sports fans, looking to level up your next private event? V Private Bar Services is your game changer. Move beyond the ordinary. V Private Bar Services crafts custom cocktails tailored to your brand and your guests' taste. Imagine a bar experience that's as unique as your business. Our expert mixologists will create a memorable experience that your clients and team will rave about. From signature cocktails to full-service bars, we've got you covered. Be the MVP of your next event. Visit vprivateba.com/MVP to book today.
Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. With delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian, Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
I was left to my own devices. Many days fell away.
Joining us now, you hear her every weekday alongside Evan Cohen and Chris Canty. Now, she's our favorite, but I will say this. Chris Canty knows his stuff. He is really, really, really good. And Evan Cohen, don't tell him I said this, but he is a genius. I mean, he is. He and I have had our differences in the past, but when it comes to on the radio, he can turn absolutely anything that happens into a really smart topic. So again, don't relay this to him. I don't want him knowing that I said this about him, but he is brilliant. But, you know, we've got a soft spot in our heart for our new Packers fan, who we helped shepherd into Packer Nation. It is our friend Michelle Smallman on Wildy and Tausch. Michelle, Brian Bulaga is filling in for Tausch, so you may never talk to him, since I know he also blew off your show. But it's great to have you. How are you?
I am doing so great. It's a Victory Monday for us Packers fans, and it's great to be in the beautiful state of Wisconsin. And by the way, everything you said about Evan Cohen just then, I didn't hear a word of it, so don't worry.
Perfect.
It will not get to him.
Perfect. So I'm sorry I missed you at the Tundra Trio. Now, I'll be honest, it's not the first time a girl has managed to avoid me in my lifetime. But luckily Paula didn't, and we're 15 years into a great marriage in which I've outkicked my coverage. But I am bummed that I didn't get to meet you in person, because I feel like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't just our sales pitch, and it wasn't just my brilliant, like Evan Cohen, angle of you were abandoned by your past NFL team. They moved away. The Packers will never do that to you. But I feel like we deserve most of the credit for you being a Packers fan. Isn't that fair to say?
Totally fair. You deserve the lion's share. You guys talked me through my feelings, through my reservations. You not only told me why the Packers were the correct pick, but as we've discussed, you gave me the room to figure this out on my own. You let me test the waters with other fan bases and see what that would maybe feel like, and it just led me right back into the arms of Packer Nation, which I am so grateful for. I am sorry that I didn't get to see you in person yesterday, because that would have been so fun for us to hang out at the Tender Trio and celebrate me being a Packers fan together, since you were so instrumental in this process. But going to Lambeau yesterday, being there with all the Packers fans, experiencing that place in person for myself, it just reiterated why this was the best choice for me, and why I feel so lucky that not only I picked the Packers to cheer for, but that I get to be a part of this, because every single person that I came across yesterday was so kind, was so welcoming, was so enthusiastic, was so eager to tell me why being a Packers fan is so special. And I felt right at home, and everything that everyone told me about what this would be like rang true yesterday. It was one of the more special days of my sports life.
So we're glad we could be a small part of that. And yes, I'm glad you tested the waters, because I would have smothered you. That's been my MO throughout my career. So I'm glad it worked out that way. Paul has certainly tolerated it better than others did. I am curious, though, of all the games for you to make your public debut as a Packers fan. All right, we got two offensive linemen puking on the field. We've got the backup quarterback having to play because Jordan Love is sidelined. A lot of run-oriented offense, heavy on the run game, which is not, Brian, no offense, you were a great run-blocking and pass-protecting right tackle, but the run game, not the sexiest thing to watch in a football game. And
yeah, a little boring.
On top of all that, you got to see 26 points scored all day when there were other games that had lots more points scored in them. So from a football perspective, what did you think of your first game as a Packers fan?
All I needed was to come out with a victory. I don't care what it looked like. I don't care what the final score was. I don't care how they squeaked it out. I don't care who was the star. I just wanted to see a Packers victory, not only because they're my team and I want them to win now, but because, as you know, one Evan Cohen was speaking nonsense from coast to coast, telling everyone that I was a jinx, that I was the Packers curse, that I picked the Packers, they lose in week 1, Jordan Love gets injured. He was telling everyone that that I was bad luck, and I had to explain to him that I am not, but my words could only go so far. I had to show it with actions. So while we knew that the ground game was going to be the key to victory because Malik Willis was an unknown stepping in for Jordan Love, and because the Texans ran all over the Colts defense in week 1 and they needed to replicate that formula, I don't really care if it was not sexy. You know what's sexy? A win, and that's what we got yesterday.
Hey, Brian, so when you were drafted by the Packers, you grew up in suburban Chicago. Your family, were they all Bears fans? I know a lot of your buddies were Bears fans. Were you a Bear fan? Like, since Michelle has gone through the conversion process from St. Louis Rams abandonment to Packers fandom, did your family have to go through a similar conversion process when their favorite son became a Packer?
Yeah, I mean, immediate family, my dad hated the Bears. He hated the Bears with a passion, especially when they fired Ditka. So, there was no, inside my household that had to be converted. My brother didn't like the Bears. My sister didn't like the Bears. My mom didn't like the Bears. My grandpa was a Bears fan. I mean, he's old Chicago, like Cubs, Bears, White Sox. He liked all the Chicago teams, Blackhawks, So he was the tough sell. He would watch the games and he'd be like, but those Bears. My mom would be like, that's your grandson playing against, what do you mean you're cheering? He goes, well, I mean, I'm a Bears fan. Yeah, so, he was the hard sell. But, for the most part, everyone, I think, even when I played the Bears, they cheered for me. But, if the Bears won, which they really didn't win too many times when we played, they would cheer for me to do well, in quotations. I hope you play well. And then whatever the result was the result. But that was the way that it normally went down.
Wow, that's a complicated web right there. I love that. Did your grandfather, go to college with Papa Bear Hallis, or what? He just could not come around on his own grandson being a Packer?
Yeah, I think, he was good with it, when I was playing. Only, 14 weeks out of the year, he was a Packers fan. But those 2 weeks that we played the Bears, he always had. I don't know if he definitely didn't cheer against me, but if the Bears won, he'd be like, well, Chicago team. Chicago team won. I mean, that's just what it was. So he was, he would wear his green and gold for 14 weeks. And then I think, when we played, he was neutral. He was a neutral fan at that point.
Talking with Michelle Smallman of Unsportsmanlike. You can hear her every weekday across ESPN Wisconsin and across the country on ESPN Radio and across ESPN TV as well. All right, Michelle, you obviously are a national personality, so you take the national perspective. A couple of the finalists that were in the mix for you, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, they get their first win yesterday against Tennessee. And the Bears and poor Caleb Williams, he took a beating behind that offensive line last night against Houston. What did you think of the NFL weekend as a whole, and what did you think of those two teams that obviously you contemplated your fandom of?
Yeah, the NFL Week 2 as a whole was a bit of a head-scratcher. I feel like these first couple weeks, a lot of these teams are still trying to find their identity, get in the rhythm of the regular season, and we're seeing that particularly with rookie quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, I think I got banned from ESPN 1000 in Chicago, which was another way to describe me to the arms of Packers Nation. But they banned me because in preseason I said there's all of this expectation around Caleb Williams to step in on day one and be this transformational guy. He's always going to be compared to C.J. Stroud, and there's so much pressure on him because he's parachuting into a situation that a number one overall pick doesn't normally get. You don't normally get a defense like that. You don't normally get that many weapons around you. But I said, let's temper our expectations just a little bit, and Jonathan Hood and Cap and Hood, they banned me from ESPN 1000 because they said that I should never talk like that about Caleb. He was going to be amazing out of the gate. But I think we're seeing with these rookie quarterbacks and some of these performances that it is going to take a beat for them to find their way. They're going to need that calibration period. And as far as, I'm not all that surprised with what we're seeing from the Bears, but I did see improvement in Caleb from week 1 to week 2, and hopefully that trend continues. Or I guess not, hopefully, now that I'm a Packers fan. Maybe we don't see that progression.
I have gotten so much grief for that because what I have said, and again, I'm not a fan. My job is to be a reporter and to be fair, if not completely unbiased. And my argument is I want Caleb Williams to be awesome because I want Packers-Bears to mean something. And Matt LaFleur being 10-0 against the Bears and the Favre, Rodgers, and now Love eras being domination city and Rodgers being able to say, I own you, I still own you, that's great. But for me, that's not compelling. I want to see old school Packers-Bears where they're both on top of their games and they're fighting for playoff berths and they're fighting for the division title. I'm not going to ask you to say that because you're still in the honeymoon phase of your Packers fandom. I don't want the crowd to turn on you the way they've turned on me for thinking that. But that's what I want, so we'll let that slide. Now, what about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? What do you make of that team, and what are your expectations there?
Really quick on your Caleb Williams being great rivalry, I couldn't agree more. I think that right now we don't have that many great rivalries in sports, and we need these rivals to be on the same playing field. I want Caleb to be great, and I want the Bears to be good, so it's even that much sweeter when the Packers ultimately beat them. Now going to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, I think it was important from a mental standpoint and a confidence standpoint for the Jets to get that win, that first one under Aaron Rodgers. But I also still don't really know how to judge this Jets team because the Titans aren't very good. So it's hard to really get a feel for what this Jets team can be at this point in the season. But I think just getting that monkey off their back to get that first win in the Aaron Rodgers era was incredibly important for them.
All right, Michelle, we're going to let you go. But before we do you have an itinerary for the rest of your day in Milwaukee? Are you flying out this afternoon? What will be your wrap-up of your weekend in Wisconsin as a Packers fan?
Well, I'm heading back to the station now to say goodbye to everyone, so hopefully I can pop in and say hello to you guys. And then I'm going to pack up my Packers gear and my cheese that I got in Wisconsin and get on a plane to be home back in New York City for Monday Night Football.
All right. Well, enjoy that and enjoy your mornings with Canty and Cohen. And we appreciate you a lot. We're so excited to have you on board, and we look forward to you joining us again soon, Michelle. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you soon.
That is the great Michelle Smallman of Unsportsmanlike. She just celebrated her first game at Lambeau Field as a Packers fan, as the Packers beat the Colts 16-10 yesterday. We've been through our positives and our negatives. What we haven't done is, whoa, Riley. I'm sure there'll be some more UFC included. We'll find out next. It's Wildy and Tausch.
Wildy and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Getting 10% back is easy at Fleet Farm. For a limited time only, Fleet Rewards members can earn 10% back in-store and online. Spend $50, get $5 back in rewards. No rebates, no coupons, no hassles. Plus, Fleet Rewards membership is free. So if you're not signed up yet, now's the time. Then get shopping to earn 10% back on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm. Some exclusions apply. Not valid at Ankeny and Waukee, Iowa stores.
It's the last home stand of the Brewers regular season. Be here when the Crew take on the Mets, September 27th through the 29th. Get to the jam-packed series for Fan Appreciation Weekend. Get your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
Big players show up in big games.
Touchdown!
Donald Driver and Cousins Subs are no different. With the football season upon us, Double D and Cousins are teaming up to offer 80-cent delivery this Saturday through Sunday on any order of $30 or more.
Touchdown!
Simply order your favorite subs and sides online or on Cousins mobile app, and we'll deliver them to you. And don't forget, we now offer Apple and Google Pay. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
Why'd the kid jump off the boat?
I don't know. Why?
Peer pressure.
Oh. Good one, Ned.
Ned isn't funny, but Ned owns a boat, and you don't. So every time Ned tells another one of his unfunny boat puns, you're going to laugh loud and keep on laughing until you get a boat of your own.
A pier where you put a boat.
Yeah, I get it.
And when you do get a boat of your own, make sure you save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Olsen here for my good friends over at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small. Whether it's making panel upgrades to your home, tuning up your generator, installing electric vehicle charging, or residential service calls, Best Electric provides quality services at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the best. Best Electric Service. Find out more at bestelect.com.
Green and gold fans, it's game day. And you know what that means. Tailgating with friends and raising a glass to our favorite team. This season, make Bacardi the star of your pregame party. Whether you're mixing up a classic Bacardi and cola, refreshing Bacardi lime and soda, or a smooth spiced and cola, Bacardi is the perfect pick for game day fun. Grab a bottle and get ready to cheer on Green Bay with the best in hand. Available now at your local retailer. Live passionately, drink responsibly. Bacardi USA, Miami, Florida. Rum 40% alcohol by volume.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
I feel so stuck.
The Veterans Crisis Line is here for you. Dial 988, then press 1 to call.
Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. With delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian, Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
Now it's time for what you've all been waiting for, or at least what Riley's family, his future father-in-law, and his girlfriend have been waiting for. Whoa, Riley.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wildy and Tausch.
Okay, yeah, I don't think anyone's really been waiting for this segment, but I have some things to talk about, starting with a topic we have rightfully avoided with the Packers' victory. What?
This is the first time you've been on camera.
Yeah.
Turn to the camera.
Hello.
Did you? Is it the lighting, or do you have like a black eye and like a bruise on your face?
No, that's definitely the lighting. I don't have a black eye or bruise on my face.
Well, I know you're into like Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu and stuff. The video angle, it looked like you'd taken a shot to the orbital bone. You're good? You weren't fighting this weekend?
No, I wasn't fighting this weekend. I do go to jiu-jitsu 3 times a week. I've been chilling, though.
Could you take Brian Bulaga, you think?
Brian would be tough.
He's got a size advantage. He's got those short arms, though.
Yeah.
Bad shoulder, too. Shoulder, too. If I get in a compromising position, I'm good.
Okay. Which shoulder? Just out of curiosity, no particular reason, which shoulder is the bad one?
I just would say you'd have to get me to the ground some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
So that would be where you would need to figure that out.
Yeah.
But, I always find it with the, I just want to say this, I always see people practicing, jiu-jitsu, and I think it's very impressive. But that's just assuming someone's going to lay on the ground with you and want to roll around and wrestle with you. It's I guess that's my only critique on is if you actually, it's for self-protection and discipline. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to, who's just going to go lay on their back with you and go, all right, let's do this. This is the only fair way to go about getting in a tussle is rolling around on the ground with each other.
That's a very fair critique. And this is something that I don't think a lot of jiu-jitsu fighters or jiu-jitsu gyms focus on. You need to be able to combine jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Because if you can't wrestle someone to the ground, you can't use any of your jiu-jitsu. If you're just stuck kind of staring at them, you're going to get knocked out. So that would definitely be how much do you weigh, Bulaga?
270.
Yeah, that'd be tough. That would be tough. I'm a little over $150 soaking wet, so that would definitely that could cause an issue if for some reason we ever were to fight, which I hope never happens.
I don't like your chances.
It'll never happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, thank goodness. Maybe if I forget to play your intro song one more time, then we may have to settle our differences.
That won't do it either. I'm not that,
Sounds good. Alrighty, so the topics I had planned for today, for good reason, we have avoided talking about the Wisconsin Badgers. They stunk it up against Alabama. Just an unfortunate game. It sucked. It was tough. I was in the student section. The crowd was electric for the first quarter. One of the best crowds I've ever been a part of. However, quickly we were taken out of the game, and that was all she wrote. They lost 42-10. So I just want to know for you guys, mostly Jason, Brian, we'll get to Iowa football in a second. But Jason, how are we feeling about the Badgers so far this season?
Yeah, I'm a little curious. I feel like, what are we, 16 games into the Luke Fickell era?
Mm-hmm.
And look, we were talking about this in the press box actually before the game because Jim Polzine from the State Journal was there. Colton Bartholomew was there.
Great writer.
And a few others that were at the game. And look, I'm biased. I am a Jim Leonhard guy. I've known Jim for a really long time. He has been a friend and someone who I've respected and admired. I don't think they'd be any worse off than they've been. Would they be better off? I don't know. I don't pretend to know today's college football like I knew the version of college football when I was a student or when I was covering it, because it's just so different with the unfettered transfers and the NIL. So I'm not questioning whether Luke Fickell was someone they needed to hire. I just find myself wondering, in an alternate universe, what this team looks like with Jim Leonhard as the head coach. And I know the other guys were talking about who his offensive coordinator would have been and everything else. Again, I don't know, but I think there was a lot of hype last year and a lot of excitement because Luke Fickell had taken Cincinnati to the college football playoff. And so far, when you hear him talking after a game about, in a signature game, an ass whooping, that is not where you want to be. And it's just disappointing. And I know there were a number of Badger alumni who were saying less than stellar things about the way things were headed in the program as well.
I would agree. I think when you have your head coach talking about a lack of identity and he can't really name anything the team does well in the post-game press conference, there's probably an issue. I'm still hopeful for the Luke Fickell era. I think they can figure it out. Not giving up yet. But Brian, another program that is probably in a better situation than Wisconsin right now, your alma mater, the Iowa Hawkeyes. However, Iowa lost for the first time in a while to Iowa State, and they had a tough game against Troy. My girlfriend's a big Iowa football fan, and she's not happy with the state of Iowa football, at least from those past two games. So I don't know, as an Iowa fan, if you've been watching, how are you feeling about the Hawkeyes this season?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Iowa State game. They played so poorly, and there were so many opportunities to win that game, and to see and I get even forget who they were playing week one when they threw up how many points.
Illinois State.
Yes.
Yeah, Illinois State. You saw good signs from the offense in the passing game, and then I feel like they played Iowa State and they got a little more conservative than what they did week one. And then I saw that kind of start against Troy, and they were struggling. And then I think they opened the offense back up. The defense made a couple plays, and they ended up winning it and being pretty comfortable with the win. But I'm nervous for when they get into big games against teams that can score points and do it consistently. Because I think Iowa's gotten better playmakers than they did last year. Obviously, the quarterback is healthy, at least for right now he is. And I think the offensive line is playing better. But you got to be able to push the ball down the field, and they showed signs of that. And there are times, even against Troy and Iowa State, that they did that. But it just needs to be more consistent. I think if, their identity is always going to be running the football. That's always going to be the identity, no matter what. But they have to be able to open it up a little bit more and get past just the mid-range passing game and take deeper shots downfield. And if they do that, that opens up the run game and things like that. So I'm optimistic. I think they could go on a little streak here. I was looking at their schedule, and I think they could win some games here in a row. I think they can rattle off a few wins and put ourselves in good position.
This has been your Iowa Football Minute. The Hawkeyes are at Minnesota this coming Saturday. Then they are at Ohio State, home against Washington, which is not the Washington that was in the national championship a year ago. On the road at Michigan State, home against Northwestern, and then finally, Wisconsin, Iowa, at Iowa on November 2nd. So we'll see how that goes. All right, Riley, what else you got?
Alrighty, so moving on to another Wisconsin sports team we haven't been able to talk about today, the Milwaukee Brewers. They're very quietly about to clinch their third NL Central title in 4 years. I think their magic number is at 3, given that they lost and the Cubs won yesterday. But they're 10 games up in the division. They're going to win unless they lose out, essentially. Are the Milwaukee Brewers the most underappreciated Wisconsin sports team? I think they are, personally.
Well, look, the season's a long season, right? I mean, Brian is a, what is it, Tottenham Hotspur? Is that your favorite soccer team? I'm trying to think.
No. Manchester City. Come on.
Believe me, I'm well aware. Just as Tausch says, I like to needle. That's a lot of baseball games, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I just think, there are certainly rabid baseball fans, and I'm not discounting or criticizing them. I just don't have the patience to carry the fan energy for 162 games. I just don't. Now that they are on the cusp, what's their magic number at now for clinching the division?
I think 3. I believe 3. So,
now it starts to ramp up, and Tausch loves the wake me in October or late September mentality, and that'll be our show's mentality, that they're going to make the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens. But I don't think that, if you're a Brewers fan, you've been enjoying this ride the whole time. Just because you listen to this show and we're basically Packers and then whatever else enters Tausch's brain, we don't talk about them a lot, but there's a ton of appreciation, man. I saw something they've used 53 different players on their roster this year. Kudos to Matt Arnold and kudos to Pat Murphy and everybody involved there, because they have had one whale of a season, and hopefully it continues all the way to the World Series.
Yes, sir. Brian, do you have any I don't know, are you a big baseball guy, Brian? You just strike me as the quintessential football guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there's a sport that I like watching the most, Jason hit on. I watch soccer more than I probably watch anything. I really enjoy it. And I'll watch baseball once it gets into the Final Four. Once we get into that, and you got the best 4 teams from each, conference or division, whatever we call it now. I don't know. That's how far to the loop I am with baseball. Once we get down to the Final Four, I think the games get very intense and very interesting, and it's really fun to watch. And you're seeing starting pitchers start every 3 days, and you see the best. And playoff baseball towards the end is really good. I'm a White Sox fan. Obviously, they are the worst
How's
team
that
in
going
baseball.
for you?
Just absolutely ugly. They have to be giving away tickets at this point. They got luxury suites that nobody goes in. They have to just be inviting fans to go in that for apologies, I'd imagine. Hey, go have free drinks and food on us. Thanks for even showing up. But I think baseball, like Jason said, it is tough to follow for 100+ games. It's just a lot. And to keep track of everything for that long, it's just really difficult. Mm-hmm. And listen, I know the Brewers are good, and and they're in the same division as the Cubs, so I hope that they get it done. And the Cubs stink, so I'm all fine with that. But yeah, if the Brewers end up making it to the Final Four, I'll be tuned in. I'll be cheering for them, because I don't have a horse in the race, so I might as well cheer for the Brewers and go from there.
Fair enough.
The Chicago White Sox on the season, 35-115.
Long season.
At least they have the s'mores milkshake, though. That looks delicious.
They are 80 games under 500. 80. But hey, they're 4-6 in their last 10. So things are looking up. Hey. They are only 51 games out of first place in the American League Central. All right, that is it for Will Riley. We'll wrap things up with Brian Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day, next. It's Wildy and Tausch.
This is Wildy and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some... Why are you throwing... I don't want...
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You've heard me talk about the results mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, I do feel, stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at lowtusa.com.
Cheer on your UW Whitewater Warhawks as they return home to face Mary Hardin Baylor this Saturday at Perkins Stadium. These perennial Division III football national powers kick off at 1 p.m. Be there for this huge non-conference matchup on Alumni Day in Whitewater. Get tickets now at uwwsports.com or the day of. Experience national championship level college football this Saturday when the Warhawks welcome in the Crusaders at 1 p.m. Warhawk football powered by tradition.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at 28 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that was voted Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
It was a ground and pound game plan for the Packers in their 16-10 win on Sunday over the Colts at Lambeau Field. Filling in for the injured Jordan Love, Malik Willis stepped up at quarterback with a 12-for-14 stat line and his first career touchdown pass. His thoughts after the game.
I've been really confident the entire time. It's more than anything just getting those reps and feeling that timing. Even in Tennessee, I didn't really get those reps during the week of the games I've started. But more than anything, I try to push that to the side and just continue to work each day.
Willis and the Pack will get back to work with film review in Green Bay today.
This has been your Green and Gold Fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank.
Concerned about fraud? Tri-City's got your back. Use debit card alerts. Help stop a card hack. You'll get notified when your card's being used so you can prevent your account from abuse. Tri-City National Bank, member FDIC.
Lower prices. Those aren't words you hear too often these days. But at your local Milwaukee and Chicago area IKEA stores, they've rolled out new lower prices on hundreds of your favorite furniture and home furnishing options throughout the store, making it more affordable to give any room in your home a stylish makeover. Utilizing innovations in design, production, and packaging, we strive to cut costs and lower prices without compromising quality, passing those savings on to you. Visit your local IKEA stores to see what savings are coming next.
This is Kevin Van Rossum, president of 3 Tree Marketing. If your company is struggling to create a buzz or just looking for a new way to stand out, our team is here to help point you in the right direction. We'll assist you in building your brand and prove we truly know what works. Experts at 3 Tree can build a one-of-a-kind gifting experience that can set your brand apart and show how much you value your customers as well as your employees. At 3 Tree Marketing, we chase partners, not orders. Visit 3treemarketing.com to learn more about what we can do for you.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Victory Monday is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. With delicious brands like Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, and Screamin' Sicilian, Palermo's has your game day covered. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer.
We've already run out of time. Are you going to rejoin us on Wednesday, or do you feel like you've done your part to contribute to this week's shows?
No, I feel like I will be back on Wednesday.
All right.
I feel like it's kind of, at this point, I feel like it's tradition, so I got to be back on Wednesday.
All right. Well, and we will spend 45 minutes with you and start the 10 o'clock hour very late, because that's what we do with Brian Bulaga. We appreciate him as our cousin sub of the day, and we appreciate you coming along for the ride with us today. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee College Prep, dedicated to closing the opportunity gap for children in Milwaukee, redefining what's educationally possible so more children can pursue their dreams. Join me, Good Karma Brand's founder CEO Craig Karmazin, and Milwaukee College Prep Thursday, October 17th, and take a stand in closing the opportunity gap for Milwaukee scholars. Your support means quality education accessible to over 2,000 scholars in Milwaukee's most challenged communities. Milwaukee College Prep is closing the opportunity gap. To learn more and purchase tickets, go to MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com and click support.
Our goal is to provide patients with the strongest, most effective, and safest options in this exciting field of regenerative medicine.